I am concerned that there may be some confusion amongst those joining us here at the very beginning for this MindCandy review of epic film, The Odyssey. Just to start off with, we're not going to be talking football. I know it's the Gooner channel, no football. And I'm joined by Mr. Tom Talks Wrestling. And in case this needs further explanation, we're not going to be talking about wrestling either. Although we may be wrestling with an epic film.
Maybe.
Right, so I don't know what you thought of the film. I don't know what anyone thought of the film yet. I told one person at work that I was going to be seeing it today, took the day off to see it. And all he said was, "Oh, you're going to love it." And I was like, that's already too much of a spoiler. I want to go into it without being influenced by anyone. And I feel like I did. But I'm dying to hear, because we haven't spoken about it, I would love to hear, initially, just what were your thoughts?
I love the movie. I don't look up anything about it beforehand. So I went into it not knowing the plot. I don't know what the Odyssey is. I've never read the poem or the story that it's based on. Elements of it are familiar in hindsight, based on things I've picked up across my life. But I thought it was what it was. It was literally an event movie. Like, I'm watching it because it's Christopher Nolan. He's made a movie.
Yeah, and there's always a bloody good reason to watch a film anyway. Like, with the exception of Tenet, I would watch his films back to back. I wasn't mad about Oppenheimer either. But to that first point, I think it's worth starting with, this is the original story. Like, this is... I found myself through the film thinking, does this conform to the hero's journey, the Campbell idea of all stories? Of course it does, because this is the origin of that. This is where that comes from. This is the first European story. It's a saga. It's epic. Of course, having studied the classics, I am very familiar with it. But actually, if I'm being honest, the closest I've come to reading Homer was the Ulysses 31, a fantastic cartoon series with the epic Ulysses theme tune. And that's probably all I actually know about. I've never read Homer. I will be now, but I don't know anything. I know the same tropes everyone else does. I know there was a horse, and for some reason they took this horse into their city, and that led to the downfall of the city. That Helen of Troy was so beautiful they went to. I know all of those things, none of which I think are probably even in the original. But I went into this very much just as an event film like you did. And not least because it's filmed for IMAX by one of the most inspiring directors we have at the moment. Did you see it on IMAX?
I saw it in the Sky Super Screen, so I don't believe it's IMAX. But I was in a room with about 10 people, and none of them were sat in front of me, and it was lovely.
I was. That's the other thing I will say. We saw a 3:00 screening at Crawley, and there were quite a few people in the cinema, and it does make you think the collapse of society. What are you all doing here? I've taken a day off to do this, but yeah, I mean, visually, it's filmed to be very tall as well as very wide, and all of the screen is taken up. I'm not necessarily somebody for whom that makes a big deal of difference. I'm the sort of person that will annoy avid cinema goers by going, I watched it on my phone. It was good, and it's like, it's not necessarily the IMAX that sells the film. I wanted something that was... So how far into the film did you get before you started enjoying it, or was it pretty much straight away?
I thought it was good immediately, but without sounding pretentious about it, because it's such a long movie, for context, it's just under 3 hours long for the audience.
2 hours, 50 minutes,
Yeah. So, obviously, I made the mistake of buying a large Pepsi.
Did you need to take a break?
I did need to take a break, and I without spoiling it for the audience, but I needed to take a break when they turned up, when the lads, Matt Damon and his lads, turned up on the island with what is her name? Samantha Morton.
Yeah.
And I walked
what
in.
bad time to take a piss break.
Yeah, I walked in, and I'm sitting there thinking, where have all these men gone? And then, why is she touching all these pigs? And then after a while, I was like, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but yeah.
Okay, you've brought up something I wanted to touch on anyway. I think when a piece of work is 3,000 years old, you're allowed to spoil it now. Do you know what I mean? You just are. Like, if you, I mean, maybe we'll avoid things that are directly gripping about the film, but we can say in the story, you know, like they land on an island, they're all desperately hungry. They're angry with Odysseus for basically angering the gods, so they make him wait by the boat. And they go off to this Sam Morton's house, and she offers them food, which they eat so ravenously. And then there's an epic scene. I mean, it is kind of disturbing and really gripping. And I guess you missed it all because you went for a
I didn't see the transformation at all.
They don't show a lot of it, in fact.
That is the one part of the movie I've not seen. And
it's mad that that's the bit. I don't know about you, but after I watched it, I wanted to talk about it. So me and the missus were talking about it in the car on the way back. I wanted to talk about it. I watched Mark Commode, who's a film reviewer I really like, and that was the scene that he was just eulogizing over. He was like, "Oh my god, she has to get him." And it's apparently, according to Mark Commode, Christopher Nolan has only ever witnessed the set applauding an acting performance twice. Once was Heath Ledger's The Joker, and on this occasion it was Sam Morton's portrayal in this film. And I thought that was a bit much. I didn't come out of it thinking, "Oh my god," but I don't know as much about films as Mark Commode. But the idea that, having heard him say that's the bit you went for a comfort break, that's brilliant. Definitely watch that bit back.
I'm going to seek that out when it comes out on streaming.
I think if you like horror films,
obviously, because I don't have the shock factor because I know it's coming.
Yeah, I mean, it isn't in of itself. It isn't. I mean, it's quite well done. I didn't think it was. I think if you were doing this show with Mark Commode, first of all, well done. That would be a real step up. Two, he would be absolutely furious with you that you chose that moment. But I think just to touch on the running time of 2 hours, 50 minutes, in of itself, if you're at home watching a film for just the best part of 3 hours, that's all right. Obviously, you can pause it if you need to, etc. But for me, it was, look, we've spent 25 quid on pick and mix. We've been for a meal. We went for a fantastic meal beforehand. And we went to cinema and, you know, obviously not hungry, but you want to have something. And, you know, it's a 3 hour film. So I bought like 25 quid's worth of pick and mix that I'd eaten in about 20 minutes and a bottle of Coke, which frankly would probably cost 5 quid or something. So, you know, too tight to buy 2 bottles of Coke. But it wasn't the 3 hours runtime of the film. It was the 47 minutes of shit trailers and adverts. You know, like you go to the cinema a lot. You must have seen this, you know, there's still time to go and get more refreshments. Go and get more refreshments. It's like, stop trying to sell me shit for a bit. You know, I've paid the money. I'm here. It's 40 quid for the tickets.
You bring up an interesting point in that I've usually drank my drink by the time the trailer ends, which renders it pointless.
Yeah,
but I'll still do that next week.
To be honest with you, I just found myself getting, because I was like, you know, not one of these products is anything I'm ever going to buy. You're wasting your time, but more importantly, just put a film on. Like, I know that they want to sell me shit, but I think, like, I get that there are adverts on TV when it's free, but when you've paid 40 quid for the two of you to sit there and you spend 47 minutes having them go, and it's interesting to me, you know, the psychology of influence. Like, there's the nachos with the streaming river of cheese, and you're like, first of all, who are we fucking kidding here? Like, I'm going to go out there and it's going to be some sort of teenager with no, I'm not going to be horrible about the people working in cinema, but you know what, not people that you'd normally expect to serve you food, serving me this kind of gloopy, not quite cheese on horrible. Anyway, I don't want to get too much into that. It's an epic film. But I do want to start off because you got into the film quite quickly. I wasn't really into the film in the first 45 minutes. It was all a little bit like I found myself dozing off a little bit. Did you not have any of those moments at all?
It's interesting you say this because, like, for a start, I consider the movie better than Oppenheimer because I fell asleep during Oppenheimer, which I know is like sacrilege for a movie go and things like this. But I just found Oppenheimer really boring. So that was my fear with the Odyssey, was that I was going to find it boring. But I found there was so much going on with the Odyssey. And again, just to track back a bit, I like how Matt Damon's made a cottage industry out of films, which are the plot is essentially, can we get Matt Damon home?
Yeah, so true. And he does it well. And he does always get home. No spoiler alert. Yeah, he does make it back.
He's a good actor. I'll give him the true. He's very good. But a lot of films are basically get Matt Damon from A to B and back to B.
Yep. And there are notable exceptions, but certainly his recent canon does involve a little bit of being like Robinson Crusoe-esque. This was definitely The Martian in places. I want to talk about Matt Damon because I think he's not the first name you would think would be cast here. But I also, there are in this film. I don't think you can talk about this film without talking about some of the casting decisions, and maybe we'll touch on that, maybe we won't. But the fact that he's in that. But the thing that you said there that I'm most surprised about is the person I work with who said, "Oh, you'll love it. It's better than Oppenheimer." And I said, "Well, I didn't like Oppenheimer. I thought Oppenheimer was incredibly boring. Like I don't really to this day really remember what happened or care. I thought it was hugely self-indulgent and tedious, and there's not really, when you make a film like that, it's like, what am I doing? Supposed to sit here and think I hope they make it or I hope they don't make it? I know they did. And I'm not that interested in Oppenheimer as a character. And I didn't see it as a Barbie double bill. So I missed quite a lot of I think that's why people enjoyed it.
I managed to offend so many people, Dan, with my take on Oppenheimer and Barbie, because I upset the Oppenheimer fans by saying I thought Barbie was better. And I upset the Barbie fans by saying that Oppenheimer's clearly a better movie. Because objectively, it's a better movie.
I haven't seen Barbie.
I enjoyed Barbie more because I didn't fall asleep during Barbie.
I didn't. I wish I'd fallen asleep. So Christopher Nolan has made, I think, Dark Knight, obviously one of my favorite films of all time. He's made some of my favorite films of all time. I thought Inception, I saw that at the Waterloo IMAX and I liked it, but it was a little bit like I'm getting fed up now trying to work out what is and what isn't happening. And we've sacrificed quite a lot of plot to show off how clever we are. And I'm not really, I felt like I was watching someone doing a Sudoku. That was what I took away from that. But he's definitely made some absolutely glorious films. And he has, like most directors, he has people he likes to work with. And Matt Damon is clearly someone he likes to work with. And I have to say, going into this, the idea of Matt Damon being Odysseus just doesn't quite marry up, but he's brilliant. I can't think of apart from Oppenheimer, what's he been in where he's like the star, where he isn't brilliant?
He's a steady hand across the board, which is why someone like Nolan's going to hire him for things. He'll be in the Nolan next film as well, presumably, whatever it is.
I hope so. I mean, we could make a fun side game out of what's the most ridiculous film that Matt Damon could star in next. You know, like, because this film is not without its controversy in terms of the casting, and some of it really winds me up. Some of it really winds me up because people are talking about it, and I just think, what is your problem? Like, why would it matter? Again, we can come to that, but the film itself, I guess, if you haven't seen it yet and you're thinking, should I watch it? You should watch it. Absolutely, yes. You should watch it. There's a number of different ways you can enjoy it.
I have with film, like, basically what it comes down to when I watch a movie, and I'm not treating this like I'm a genuine influencer, because I'm not. But at the same time, I basically go, should you see the movie? And most of the time, 90% of the time, it'll be wait for it to come out on streaming. Because obviously in modern film, many people do not have the £20, £30, whatever it will cost for you and your friend or family or whatever to go cinema. So I don't want to be the reason that you have shelled out money on something which in hindsight is absolute trash. Because I will tell people to go and see Melania, because I know no one's actually going to take that.
Yeah, still no one's gone to see that on your recommendation. It's like
you should. You absolutely should. You really should. You'll be having a great hour and a half.
I just feel like that's ultimately just sadism speaking there. You're just literally, I can't go. You just want to share the suffering. I saw it. You see it. No, I think, look, I totally get your point. You don't, but all I can say is I'm glad I went to see it. And it is an event film. You're right. It's something, these films don't come around that often. It sounds almost silly to say this, but they've taken a lot of care in making it. So go and watch it. You know, okay, here's the thing that I was really looking forward to talking to you about and being able to talk about, because Christopher Nolan has tried to make a film the way that I guess filmmakers always made films, which is as it happens. It's kind of a live event. It's not all done in post-production. They burn Troy. They burn an actual set of Troy. They build an actual Trojan horse. And this Trojan horse is the defining graphic of the film. It is the image that is absolutely perfect. It gives you an impression of the whole story, which you've probably never had before, is a really gruesome and difficult thing. And all of that. But he has made a film without CGI. I mean, obviously, look, there's a 100-foot Cyclops. So unless there's a bloke out there that they've, you know, there's bits.
I literally thought when that first appeared, because obviously I had no idea this was going to be a thing. So when I'm sitting there thinking, what is going to come through that cave wall? Like, because I'm not anticipating anything other than I don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
And basically I'm thinking, what's going to come through this wall? Because I'm guessing like an army's going to come in and trap or something. Yeah. The giant Cyclops comes through, and I'm basically like, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
And then you saying about how basically there's very little CGI in the film. I was sitting there thinking, where did they get a giant Cyclops from?
Yeah, he's a big lad. He's a big lad. One-eyed Jack. Right. Okay. So obviously there's some, but I thought it was really touching. I thought I'm the same as you. I didn't know what to expect. When one sheep's going into a cave and they follow it in there, I'm like, not really the sort of thing I would do. You know, like you're going into a dark cave. I know you're like all double R bastards and everything, but maybe just, you know, they seemed very fine going into a cave, and then the Cyclops appears. And we're going to assume that if you are watching this, if you're watching us talk about it, you know a little bit more than we did going in. But I'm the same as you. Didn't expect that. And that scene is quite scary. And it's a trope that kind of is continued throughout the film. People being plucked out of a normal situation by a big hand. It's either a seven-headed Hydra or whatever that thing was, or it's a Cyclops. And so that obviously that's visual effects, and I don't know how they did that. But the rest of the film is made like an old-fashioned film. Was that something that you think worked or didn't work, or did it improve the quality of the film? Does it matter?
It matters. I suppose it matters on a superficial level, because you sit there and when you feel like, because obviously this sort of film, Dan, it's obvious what's CGI and what isn't. But at the same time,
the Cyclops is fairly obvious.
Yes, exactly. But obviously, when the Cyclops is not on screen, you basically are seeing things that Christopher Nolan has plotted out and is getting people to actually make. Like the Cyclops itself is an animatronic thing that like 10 people operate.
What's the film I'm thinking of where the hand comes in? Is it because I grew up watching Land of the Giants, and they'd have a big paper mache hand would come out, and the actor would go no and be dragged off. It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't the height of CGI either.
I thought it was fine. personally, because I'm not a CGI expert, but at the same time, I enjoyed it. I thought it was just a nice 2 hours 50 minutes.
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna go through some of the comments. Thanks for joining us, guys. Is it worth it? Am I worth it? I put a thing down, flip it, and reverse it. I love it. Whenever a comment is rap, that's winning as far as I'm concerned. Is it worth it? Yeah, it's worth it. I think, Christopher Nolan wanted to make his big film, and he's got hopefully more in him, but this is a big film. It is definitely worth watching. So the verdict, I would say we've already both said, like, we'd watch it again. I will watch it again. I would watch Nolan take a shit. I think I'm kind of Jordan. Maybe as long as it was him directing it tastefully, but that's a stretch. Hola, says Mortlicky, Texas, and Jose's here with greetings, everyone. The opening scene had me spilling my soft drink. Elaine Page and Travis Scott were dreadfully woeful, but everything else was quite. I got in trouble for, was it dead naming? It is Elliot Page, and I'm going to stick to that. I have had the most fun watching commentators on the right wing discuss this. Ben Shapiro eked out his review for like 14 minutes with an advert of 2 minutes in between before saying that he didn't think Elliot Page should be in the film. It is an interesting casting, it's hard. I was saying this to my missus in the drive back. I was like, I imagine the audition room had all these guys, so before I went, I was under the impression that Elliot Page had been cast as Achilles, obviously an almost immortal warrior, like touched by the gods, the perfect specimen of a man, which felt a bit like a bit of a stretch to hire 5'1" Elliot Page, who's diminutive. And I just imagine this room full of people going for the casting of that part, and some chiseled features and some sort of abs would have been there, and what you get then is a really odd hire. And I like it. Is it just to wind up people who commentate on these things, or is there a reason?
I think it's twofold. I could have this entirely wrong, but I think it's because the second you hear that Elliot Page has been cast in that, it's got people talking about it, which means indirectly they're talking about the film.
Yeah.
People will watch the film just to then comment on Elliot Page being in the film.
Yeah.
Spoiler, Elliot Page is not in the film for very long.
It's about 3 minutes at most. I mean,
exactly.
the point is, almost the minute you see Elliot Page dies. And then you're like, oh. But there is a scene where Elliot Page, and again, like, no apologies for spoilers. You can always go and watch this and, later on. But I think we have to talk about what we've watched and do that with that. So Elliot Page is basically, they shoot arrows into Elliot Page, and he's pinned against the Trojan horse. He doesn't even know that Odysseus and the men are in there. He's been left behind to explain to the Trojans that this is a gift, a parting gift, from which is where you get the whole beware Greeks bearing gifts and things like that from. But there's a point where he's dying and he's being talked to, and you can kind of see bum fluff. It's not like stubble. It's and this is a man who's been fighting the Trojan Wars for 10 years, and you think that's weird. That probably wouldn't be like that, but I don't really care. I don't think anybody who saw that film really cares that Elliot Page is in it. I just don't. I can't see a world in which that was the best person to do that role. And I know that they've worked together before and probably friends and whatever. But I kind of, that side of my brain was, is this a public? Huh?
It just cost their mates.
Yeah, and that's okay. I'd like to think if you were making an epic based on a 3,000-year-old saga, you'd find a place for me, your old mate, But yeah. I definitely don't necessarily.
Last 4 minutes in it though. 4 minutes.
4 minutes is fine. Yeah, any more than that, and you're putting the whole production in jeopardy. But I saw another really. This is how deep that people on the right have gotten into this. They've gone, well, actually, the character doesn't. So Elliot Page doesn't play Achilles, plays Sinon. And Sinon is a character who doesn't appear in the Iliad or the Odyssey, but rather in retellings of those stories in the Dante. And so Sinon appears in the Inferno in one of the lowest circles of hell, because Sinon's used his words to kill people, and is in with the fraudsters. So one of the right-wing commenters I saw said, is that just Christopher Nolan having a bit of a dig, saying, look, actually, here's a person pretending to be... And I'm not getting into all that. I couldn't care less what people think they are. That's their business, and respect to everybody. Elliot Page, in the films I have seen, Elliot Page in, I've always really liked the performances, and I think this is a good actor. So none of this is about what you think of Elliot Page, but it is just so... I think it has to be... There's no way on earth Christopher Nolan didn't go, I'm going to get some shit for this. Do you know what I mean? There's no way he's going, who are we casting for Sinon, the young warrior? I'm thinking maybe RuPaul, or maybe... Do you know what I mean? Like, almost anything you do at that point has to be thought through. And the fact that... So the performance, as you said, there isn't really a lot to criticize or to love about this performance. Elliot's dead pretty much as soon as you see him, but then comes back in a really haunting exchange, which in the original, I'm given to understand, I'm not painting myself as a classicist or anything, it is Achilles, which is where this has all come about, that people thought that Elliot Page had been cast Achilles. There are other... And I think they're utterly stupid conversations being had about the colour of people who play parts. That's stupid. I have no interest in discussing that at all. I think the whole thing's made up. You know, next you're going to have people telling me that it's wrong that the Cyclops was a sort of tan green colour because this is a totally made up story. Let's have it right. And the acting, I thought across the board was really good.
It was. There was, like, I've not sat here, but generally, and always said Anne Hathaway's amazing. I thought she was fine in this.
I thought she's really good. I haven't seen her in much. I've not seen The Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah, she's good in that.
Yeah,
that's really more about Meryl Streep though, more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, if Meryl Streep had been cast as one of the troops on the battle as well, you'd have been like, no, I mean, Meryl Streep's brilliant, but is it wrong that you kind of expect a Greek warrior to be played by, these are all questions that take us out of it. I did feel though, whether intentional, whether it is to get some publicity, whatever the reason, as I'm watching Elliot Page, it takes me out of the film a little bit, because I'm thinking, is that bum fluff? That doesn't... this is not somebody that is convincingly a Greek warrior. But I certainly wouldn't have called his performance dreadful or anything like that. And then there's Chris Nick saying, hey, chaps, I have no self-control regarding snacks gone by the trailers have done. Not these trailers. 40, isn't that a record? 47 minutes. Is that how it is nowadays? I mean, you go to the cinema a lot.
Generally, the trailers are half hour in the cinema are going.
That's a lot.
I didn't time it, but it felt like what I expected it to be. You must have got special trailers.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was just an endless... I always think, I want to be supportive. These people have spent a lot of money, and I want to go and buy the product. But there wasn't a single product I could look at and go, yeah, I'll have that. I'm not buying a Volkswagen. I don't know how else to put it. Like, you've done a lovely advert. It's nostalgic. Loved it. No to your Volkswagen. So is it me, or does John Bernthal have zero acting range? He just plays the same character in every movie, kind of like Statham. That would have been another... It was that?
He's right. I mean, he's played the same character in every film or TV show.
But, okay, I know we've both spent a little time already saying... Well, I think you made a point really well. You said he's a safe pair of hands. Matt Damon. How different is Matt Damon in everything?
Safe pair of hands. I mean, I've nothing against John Bernthal, but it's fair to say that he has zero acting range.
Well, all I can say is, even if I wanted to disagree with that, one of the conversation points my missus brought up in the car is that guy who's in The Bear and Walking Dead. In this, he just does the same thing in every film, every show, and I'm like, yeah, but I like him. He's got a great look.
Oh,
I mean,
if I made a thing, I'd cast him in it. I'd put him in the role that he tends to always play. I'd say go out there and be John Bernthal.
yeah. This role was written for. I mean, basically, he is. Is it? Well, I'm trying to remember. Who is he? Is he? He's not Agamemnon. He's Agamemnon's brother or son or something. God, I wish I knew my classics better. But yeah, no, I think we all can agree that his range is not fabulous. Maybe the next thing we see him in will be something really touching and moving and delicate and kind and gentle, but it's probably going to be like a.
Case. I don't think it will be. He's gonna be. Oh, what is he? He's gonna be the Punisher again, isn't he?
He's gonna. No, I think he's found his niche now. I think Swords and Sandals. I think this film will generate a little boom of Sword and Sandals films, and I'm all for it. Because I love them. I hated Gladiator 2 because I haven't lost the use of my frontal lobes, but anything usually with like Swords and Sandals, bloody love it, right? And if you've got stop motion skeletons or something, even better. This is what this film was missing almost. So I buy Cineworld codes from eBay, 2 tickets for £10, cheeky hack. Good work. We got ours free with tokens. We got both tickets for free. I don't know what the missus is a genius. Then it was, did you watch it in 17mm or regular 35mm, Dan? So this is a Christopher Nolan fetish, really. He's wanted to make a cinema, an IMAX film, start to finish. And this one required special cameras that you can only shoot 3 minutes of at a time. And they had to build housings for them to reduce the noise. So this is a really tough. So I said to my colleague at work, "Oh, I'm going to see it IMAX," and she said, "Oh, but you're going to see it on the 70mm." And I went, "Oh, I don't know." And she said, "There's only 3 cinemas in the country that show it at 70mm." And I was like, "Well, then no, because I don't think Crawley will be one of them." Apparently, one of them is a science museum, and I was like, "Joe, I'm not going to go and see this film at the science museum. Why would you say that to me?" I saw it in IMAX. It was plenty. It's an epic film, and you're immersed in it. And I didn't need a comfort break, so I was there the whole time. But when 1 or 2 people who did need a comfort break walked in front of it, they were tiny in comparison to everything, and I thought it was really interesting. So I watched it on IMAX. I think I didn't watch it in the full 70mm. But as near as possible. Do you have gripes that the film used modern language for this instead of some gibberish newly created one? I love this question, Charles. What is it, Charles? You come up with the best questions. Do you have a team of writers or something? What good? Let me go to you, Tom. What did you think? Like, I didn't notice, so I'm pointless asking me.
This is a genuinely great question because it's a thing I point out in loads of things. Like the amount of films not films, even TV shows. It's irrelevant, really, but where basically, like, for example, the characters are German, but they're speaking in English about being German. I'm like, so why aren't you speaking in German?
Well, so you would have...
It's so much the audience can understand it. But within the immersion of the thing, it's just like this...
Yeah, but then how immersive is it if you have to read subtitles?
Yeah, it's fair.
I don't know...
Real trade-off.
But then again, it gets even deeper here because they could still be speaking without using modern idioms and modern language words. I think the ones that really stood out for people were mum and dad. And I just think I didn't pick up on it because I wasn't thinking like that. Yeah. But I have no problem at all with people taking a work as old as this and putting it into modern settings. I'd have more of a problem if he literally put it into a modern setting. If instead of being king of Ithaca, if he'd been a chartered surveyor from like Croydon, I would have had much more of a problem with it. But I didn't. The truth is, I didn't really notice the modern language, and it's not like occasionally Athena's going in it though. So like if it was that, it would be a problem. But I think for the classicists and the people who are very attached to this obviously epic work are going to be annoyed at almost every movie, I think. But there are things in this plot where he moves away from what actually happened enough to annoy you more than the language would. That's what I would say. And I love this as well from East End Apartments. Go on. Hello, good evening, and welcome, fellow Greek wingers. What a day. We're not going to do the football, but if you like, Ithaca, Greek. I don't know. Excuse me. Casting does matter. Okay, Jordan, I think I'm going to read this point out. Casting does matter. Moana, which you brought in a cultural and experts to make sure the writing was respectful, is not a big deal, but it's fair to feel insulted, especially if you're Greek. I have a very good friend who is Greek, and he made exactly this point. He was like, when you're making Moana, everybody has to be the right ethnicity for the film. Otherwise, it's hugely disrespectful. The minute you're making a film about ancient Greek text, it's absolutely fair game. Anyone can be in. You can have a Nordic Matt Damon. You can have people in it who are clearly not Greek. In fact, I don't think there is a single Greek person in this film. And my view on cultural appropriation is it's all bullshit, right? Like there is no such thing as cultural appropriation. We're all human beings. We learn from each other. We share with each other. And if you're making a film and you say that if I was making a film and I said only a certain person could be in it, I don't think that would necessarily create a better film. But how you make a film is a private and personal choice. And if somebody decides they want to make the color purple and not have a multiracial cast playing slaves in this setting, I understand and respect that. I think that's their choice. So I can understand how Moana, if I'm pronouncing that properly, because that would be the worst thing, wouldn't it, in this heady times. But if they want to make that film, the way they made it, and Christopher Nolan wants to make the film the way he makes it, but it does just show you that any attempt to bring kind of race into these things is nonsense, and it's partly nonsense because we don't really know what people would have looked like, or I'm sure people do, but I don't know what color people were. And the big point that people were making about this film was that Helen of Troy was black. If it's a made up character, why would it matter? So Ellen Page playing you're saying Ellen Page playing a male is like me impersonating Sandra Bullock. I really wish you could pull off. I think Sandra Bullock's brilliant. But I don't really want to get. I think for me, it's about respect. I have no reason to upset anyone by using a name that Elliot Page doesn't use anymore. I just didn't feel like if you didn't know Elliot Page from his past, or you didn't know anything about him, you'd still probably watch this and go, weird choice. But it wouldn't be like enough to make you drop your popcorn, especially not if you pay the kind of modern prices for popcorn. He couldn't even die gracefully. There's a bit of I didn't think he was on screen long enough to play badly. I think that's what you said earlier as well. Yeah,
not on screen long enough for me to even remotely critique the performance. Not that I really do that sort of thing, but just still, it was just, he's already dead.
Yeah, it was one of those. It was like
TV show. The credits wouldn't have even stopped appearing on the screen when he was already dead.
Yeah, and if you were putting credits up based on screen time, you'd have to wait quite a while to see that name go up anyway.
Yes.
But there is, and here, let's be honest, the casting is weird. You can understand why some people were offended. It's actual piece, and normally you're meant to be respectful. They brought in cultural experts for it. As I said, listen, I can understand why people are making that distinction, but I haven't seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding. But I think that all of the cast were Greek in that had to be. And that's kind of normal, isn't it? Like if you're making a film about, that most people don't apply colorblind casting. But I think if I'm okay with it, and I am okay with it across the board, like if you want to do Shakespeare, I think that you can get past it if an actor's good. You don't think about that. And at a point when you're talking about a film that's clearly not based on a true story, I hate to, elements of the Trojan Wars obviously happened, but no, like there wasn't a Cyclops. So if there's already a Cyclops in the film, I'd say all bets are off, right? Like then anyone could be anyone. I just want the best people in the best roles. And I didn't have a problem with this cast. I thought we've already talked about John Bernthal. I maybe don't think he's necessarily winning an Oscar anytime soon, but I liked him in this.
It's so clear. I have nothing against John Bernthal, despite what I've said. Like, I like Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, but at the same time, I'm not calling for Jean-Claude Van Damme, who plays Jean-Claude Van Damme in 10 films, to win an Oscar.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what role. I think you could have put Jean-Claude Van Damme in this one. I think it would have been, I think there's a comment here. A Mel Gibson. So, yeah, wouldn't have been as ridiculous. A Mel Gibson made version would top this one, I have no doubt. I like Christopher Nolan. I'm definitely not. I don't necessarily think he's my favorite director, but that's a hell of an impressive body of work he's putting together.
I did enjoy Apocalypto, though, to be fair to.
Well, I can't tell the joke that I wrote about that. Can I? No, I can't. I've got to censor myself at some point. But yeah, Apocalypto's a fucking amazing film. Like, would Elliot Page have been cast in Apocalypto? I don't know. He very much went the other way with that film, didn't he? He went for the gritty realism. He went more the Moana route. Jean-Claude Van Damme, similarly, or John Bernthal. I don't see him in that film. Now here, Des Moran, great to see you. Another Waterworld, Oppenheimer, brilliant. This was a dud. First of all, my real problem with Waterworld is that I thought it must be Kevin Costner's worst film, and then Tom turned me on to The Postman. So I have now proof that Costner can do worse, which I'm still glad I saw, by the way. But I don't know. Oppenheimer was brilliant. This was a dud. Isn't that the beautiful thing about cinema? I just thought Oppenheimer was tedious beyond my capacity to cope. And I couldn't sit through all of Oppenheimer in my living room, watching it with my family who seemed to be enjoying it, and had my phone out, and I was like, have they blown the fucking thing up yet? And
seen it since.
Nah, I'm not going to see it since. Whereas this, I sat through 2 hours, 50 minutes runtime, and 47 minutes of trailer. My pick and mix was done by the time the film kicked in. And I didn't mind at all. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was, didn't make me cry, didn't make me, it didn't change my worldview. But it was really interesting at some points. So the sort of disagreement me and the missus had on the way back, because she really loved the bit where Anne Hathaway says, the throne hasn't been empty, I've been sitting on it. Why? And she's like, why can't a woman be a king? And I'm like, I'm an anarchist. This shit doesn't work with me. Like, you're saying, why can't a woman be a king? And I'm going, why do we need kings and queens anyway? Why can't she? Like, this woman who's been able to just play with her loom for 20 years and be tended on by loads of other people. Oh, poor thing, she's not a king. It's like, what about everyone else, like, that is basically having to do what she wants because she's apparently a queen? If we're doing equality, can we just do equality from the poor people up to the rich people and then work? If everyone's treated fairly, you don't have to. But I didn't feel sorry for it, but it resonated. It was a feminist moment. It was like, what? Why can't I be king? And I was like, yeah, you probably can. I don't know what kings do, but in this film, they seem to go off to places and kill people. Like, I don't know if sitting around weaving something is quite the same as a kingly role. When the king does come back, spoiler alert, I do want to talk about the ending of this film as well, because I didn't know what was coming. But I don't think Anne Hathaway could have done what he does there either. So it's like, well, maybe it's just a meritocracy. Maybe kings have to be double-hard bastards and kill everyone. And Anne, you've had 20 years. You've just sat there weaving, so that's why you can't be a king. Did any of that kind of resonate with you?
She would not have lasted 4 minutes in that finale.
4 minutes? Fucking... She gets killed in the first 15 seconds in that finale.
I'm being generous to her.
You're being more than generous. That was one of the Volkswagen advert was 4 minutes. She would have been like, look, I have to say, that was silly to me. I mean, I know he's really hard and everything, but like, that wasn't thought through. So you're just going to have like 50 blokes in a room and you're going to kill them all with a bow and arrow? Huh?
The thing that got me about that I found was a bit ridiculous, even though I enjoyed it, but what I found ridiculous in hindsight, why you're attacking him one at a time?
Yeah. I mean, there's a point where they've got one of Grand and they're kicking 7 bells at him. And you go, yes, do that earlier. Also, a bow and arrow is not a good close range weapon anyway. Apart from in this film where he just goes.
Like in this film, he's an assassin with it.
Yeah, I think that part of it is all a little bit. I've got a plan. What's your plan? I'll take them all on. Right, Dad. No, put the Stella down. Let's think this through in the morning. You've had too much to drink. Look, Weers is here. Hope you're well. Always better for seeing you. Van Damme in Hard Target pulls off a good Cajun.
I like that film as well.
I will definitely do a little politics show because I think anything will happen. But I'm not too grounded to be an anarchist. It's the only grounded philosophy there is, political philosophy. More importantly, we're getting Bruno Champions of Europe coming. Now, I did say at the very beginning, this is not a football show, so I'm not going to. But I might do something afterwards. So, given that. You can't. I think we've talked about the hires in this film and the casting in this film. I want to spend more time just talking about trying to work out how it made you feel, because I think we both agree we enjoyed it. If you had to give it a rating out of 10, where do you think it comes in?
I think it's 8.2.
Oh, don't do points. Because they'll just do it out of 100 then. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, you're basically turning...
out of 100.
8 what?
82% out of 100.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what you're saying, basically. God, that's good. I just think there aren't going to be... Look, this isn't me getting old and maudlin and going, there aren't going to be many more films I enjoy more than this one with the coming collapse of modern economics and we're all going back. But there is a theme here. And it's something that I'm really fascinated by in Greek history as well. Because what this film does, what Christopher Nolan uses his film to do, is to foreshadow the collapse of society. And that is something that a lot of people, I wish more people knew. There is this kind of general conception that there were the ancient Greeks and they invented philosophy and democracy and then everything got better and better and better till the Enlightenment. And then we had science and everything. No. The age of the philosophers, the age of the great artists and the poets died and was followed by centuries of darkness, no culture. And that is something that really, one of the things watching, as I did, the 47-minute trailers, a lot of the films coming up are very doomsday-ish. They are very kind of like end of civilization. And it makes you think. I'm fascinated by dystopian pictures. I could do hours of just talking about dystopian novels and pictures. That's my favorite thing. But typically, people want to watch things like Blade Runner when everything's actually okay. And they want to watch things like Gone with the Wind when things are really shit. So people want fantasy happy when life is tough. But at the moment, we've seen this film, it stands on a precipice. It's talking about the end of civilization. In the film, and I don't think this is part of the original text, Odysseus feels responsible for breaking Zeus's law. I don't know anything about Zeus's law, but it's blatantly do unto others as you would have done unto yourself in a different wording. And I think that's the central tenet of most of the world's religions. That's essentially just be nice to other people and everything will be fine. But it's proven very difficult to get people to do that. But in this film, because it's Odysseus who conceives of the Trojan horse, he feels responsible for breaking Zeus's law and unleashing the darkness that follows. And this film is basically about his guilt. And also it's an interesting angle to look at this as basically his post-traumatic stress. And so the film itself has this kind of underlying dark message that society is collapsing. Did you get that from it, or am I just up my own arsehole?
No, because that is the underlying cause of when the further away you get from what he initially does, as in the Trojan horse, and the aftermath of that. The further away, then you get pulled back into the girl that's basically been plaguing his guilt. because Zendaya, I believe her name is. And that,
You've pronounced it spot on. Can I just I hate to do this, but in Ben Shapiro, I would recommend people go and watch Ben Shapiro's review, because he keeps calling her Zendaya, and they keep inserting a clip where she keeps saying it's pronounced Zendaya, and he steadfastly refuses to do that. So I don't know if it's just that the guys in his team added that in afterwards for a bit of fun, but yeah, it's Zendaya because she says it in the middle of his thing.
But like, because obviously during the movie, I'm sat there thinking, why does she keep popping up in the film? And then eventually, like about 2.5 hours into the movie, you see how she actually gets killed in the movie when the person that she's actually the manifestation of gets taken and essentially beheaded. And that's obviously the crux of why he feels the guilt over what they did or what he did to them.
Yeah, brilliant. I thought that part of it was one of my standout moments. Not only the really tactful and tasteful way that's done, but I think what that does is it allows you to experience gods through the prism of, yeah, it might all just be his dealing with the world, because she has some brilliant lines. Like he says, why do the gods not speak to us in language we understand? And she says, you don't understand thunder, you don't understand good harvests, you don't understand like they do. They speak to you. They say, "Don't do this thing." You do this thing, and everybody dies. And then you're like, "Oh, I wish I could understand what they were saying." And it's like but it's so beautiful, that bit you're talking about, because she appears and it's kind of wafty. Oh, he's seeing. I think he's Apollo. I can't remember if her name's Athena or Apollo. I'm shit with the gods. Sorry. I'm an anarchist. But so like she appears, and you're like, "Oh, this is just part of the myth and monsters kind of thing." But then when that moment happens and you realize it's this post-traumatic stress of seeing a young girl who looks up at him, almost pleading for her life, and they behead her in this savagery of the 10 years of frustration that's led to the sacking of Troy and all of this, and you start to realize he doesn't want to go home. He can't go home. He's like every warrior that is stuck in the battlefield. This moment has become inexorably linked, where she's beheaded and the statue is beheaded, and the two have merged together, so that thereafter she appears to him as the goddess Athena, I think it is. And it's so clever. I mean, that's where you know, like someone like me can sit there and go, all filmmaking is clever, because how did they do any of it? But these little moments are so good that they explain so well what he's been doing up to this point, that it makes it's so satisfying. It's like a really good, yes, that's good, that makes sense.
I'm not just going to watch the movie again on TV because of not seeing the pig scene.
Yeah.
It's more because I want to see all the things that she's been saying to him, because I can't remember everything.
Yeah.
I want to see the things she says to him now that I know where she sits in his consciousness.
Yeah.
Because obviously, from a point in the movie where she's not really there and he's envisioning her, like I get that.
Yeah. Well, she appears and disappears, and that's obvious. But her as a kind of
why are you popping up as a vision to him?
Yeah, and it explains that thing of like he thinks he's seeing a god, but the god he's seeing is a human that he's seen. So it makes sense of everything. I thought there's some really lovely moments of storytelling. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like for 20 years, this little puppy that he saved. There's a scene in which the guy's picking up puppies and then just chucking them off a cliff, which differentiates this movie from a more sort of Hollywood movie. You know, this film has a 15 rating. I think it's moments like that do that. I think I'm right in saying it's one of the most expensive R-rated films ever made. And you do kind of sit there and think, why? It's not really R-rated. I mean, but there are little moments of callousness, like people killing their daughter as a sacrifice, and this guy chucking puppies off. But Matt Damon takes this puppy, and this puppy basically won't die until it's been reunited with his master, who everyone thinks is dead, and he returns as a beggar, which is this whole thing about Zeus's law is be nice to everyone because there might be a god in disguise. And I'm like, can't you just be nice to everyone anyway? Do you need could you just be nice to? But no, apparently Zeus's law is there's a reason, and this film manifests that with the king returning as a lowly beggar, and when he comes back, he stops and he talks to the dog briefly, and then the dog dies, and you're kind of like, that's a lovely bit of storytelling. It's worth watching again just for those moments, I think, where it suddenly all makes sense.
That's the film telling the characters that they should be paying attention to the things that have previously been said in the film.
Yeah.
Because if they did, obviously no one actually does this in real life, but if they did, they would go, "Oh, the king has returned."
And when you say that, also listen, there's the other part of that is, although this is a long film, there aren't really any bits of it that are just padded, and there are little moments of it, like when they're talking, when he's getting the dog, and the dog is a little side, but every part of it you had to pay attention before, and now you see this, and it makes sense. If I had one casting, I know we've talked about the casting, and Christopher Nolan, I'm sure he's drinking a cup of tea somewhere going, everyone's going to be talking about the casting of this movie for ages, and that might give him satisfaction. I thought generally, with some exceptions, everyone was brilliant. What about Tom Holland, though?
I found him quite odd in the sense of, it's like watching a boy try to be a man. Basically, the early part of the film is basically like when he sort of gets battered by Robert Pattinson, who's actually really good, to be fair to him.
Did you? Okay. We might disagree. I found him a bit, I don't know.
I enjoy him in the Batman though, so because I thought he was a better Bruce. He was good as Bruce Wayne than in Batman. So I just think he's quite good, considering I've watched Twilight and
I've never seen it. That's why I don't really know who the hell he is, to be honest. I forgot he was in Batman. But also, he's a little bit pantomime for me. It was all a little bit like dun 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 dun. You know.
Yeah, he has this look in his eyes as if like he's obviously the villain.
Yeah.
Like he's pulling faces as if to go, I'm about to do something really shitty.
Yeah. It's all the way through. There's no ambiguity, is there?
In that scene at the start when he gets battered by, I can't remember, is it Corey Hawkins, the actor? But the black guy that's like, what's his name? Patterson's mate. I can't remember the character names.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I can't either.
I know he's meant to be, the impression's meant to be like a petulant child that's way in above his head kind of thing, or he's out of his depth, getting into a fight with these warriors or whatever. And but he genuinely looks like a man wearing his dad's suit, or boy wearing his dad's suit. Yeah.
Well, I thought he looked ridiculous with I know that's probably what they used to wear, but the gold band, it just looks a little bit like, oh, hello. Oh, I'm a king. I don't know. Maybe I'm being silly. But apparently it's Polybus. That's who Corey Hawkins is playing. Thought he was great. Robert Pattinson, I don't know. There was a lot made of the fact that Travis Scott was in it, and it's like he's in it for like 2 minutes. It's all good. You know, everyone can take a fucking.
I didn't even notice Travis Scott in
he's
the
film. He's the narrator at the beginning with telling the story.
Oh, he's the one that's when they're having the dinner. That's Travis Scott. Okay. Yeah. I only know him from ruining WrestleMania 41. But anyway.
How dare he? Well, I'll never forgive it. I tell you the other one, and I cannot pronounce his name. The one who was in Carlito Brigante, and he plays...
I know him as Luigi from the original Mario Brothers movie, but it's John Leguizamo. I think that's his name.
Yeah. You're in there. That's how it sounds to me. I'm sure we're both killing that name. I really liked him in this. I like him in everything.
He's good in everything.
I have no recollection of seeing him in something and thinking he's not very good. He's just got charisma. I really like him. And I think
bad movies as well. He can be in a bad movie, but it's not bad because he's in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, Carlito's Way is one of my favorite films, and he's that's the first time I think I've seen him in anything, but he's brilliant in it. But but it's not a great. It's a slightly weird part as well. There are things in this film that I think are close to the text. So because I'm not qualified to really judge the text, there were odd decisions. The fact that he's blind is an odd decision. I don't really why that has to be the case.
What I find about the movie though, Dan, is that they always seem to flip flop. Like, is he blind or is he half blind? Like,
yeah,
because in one scene he's half blind, but then the other scene he's completely blind.
And then he says, "I don't see that well," and you're like, "Oh, so you can see? Okay, all right. Well, I don't know. He's brilliant in it though, and I say that I think I've got a crush on him or something because he doesn't do anything to make me like him. He's just got charisma. He's just sort of bloke I like. You know, go for a pint with John LeGuizmo.
Movies.
But he did get some stick for this. He has had some. I haven't watched a lot of review. Yeah, people didn't go for it. The one that really Charlize Theron I thought was great in it as well. I haven't seen her in anything in bloody ages.
She was in something I saw recent. Oh no, she was in what was it, Furiosa or something like that.
Oh yes, she was, and she was good in that. I like Furiosa was brilliant. I'd like more films like that actually, because the one after that, what's the Mad Max one that came out? Was it the one before Furiosa that's really good at Furiosa shit? Or
Fury Road, and the one with Tom Hardy.
Yeah, I like that. I like Tom Hardy in it.
Sorry, I've got that.
Yeah, so Furiosa is a one, but I know what you mean because I lump them both in together. So apologies, just across. You didn't hear the original ground rules. Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. This is us talking about something that's not football. But overall, as an introduction to, would it make you read the Iliad or the Odyssey?
I'm not going to lie and say I would read it because I'm not going to, because I've seen the movie that spawned from it. But yeah, I'm not going to do that because I've got other nonsense to get on with, such as my other nonsense.
Yeah, but I read something the other day. It's actually John Steinbeck from one of his semi-autobiographical works, and he was like, he goes on this long road trip and he packs loads of books that he knows he's never going to read because they're books he knows he's never going to read. And I thought, that's so me. I'll buy a bunch of books and go, I can't wait to read that, and then look at them for a couple of years and go, I can't wait. I can't look forward to having a day where I read that, and then eventually get sick of looking at them and put them in a box somewhere and never read them, and then pull them out and think, can I re-gift this? That's it.
You know, the modern version, what you're describing is your Netflix watch list.
Oh, I don't have a watch list. What do you mean, like?
I have a list on Netflix of things that basically they go on the list. It's essentially my graveyard where TV shows go to die. I'll never look at them.
I mean, TV shows. I mean, like, who's got time anymore? I think, didn't we need to talk about it? Like, I've started getting into House, and I think when we were talking about it, and I was like, I think I'm on episode 4 or 5. I looked, I'm on episode 9. I was like, right, that's enough now. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's my graveyard. It's like, oh yeah, brilliant. Ozarks, really loved it. Watched almost all of it up to a point. Stopped watching it, not because I didn't enjoy it. I was loving the shit out of it, but have never gone back to it. You know, didn't watch the final season of Lost. Don't care. You know, there's a point where you just get to Walking Dead. I stopped at a point where about 7 million other people went, yeah, I don't want to watch this anymore. When me and the missus are watching it, she turns to me and goes, it's so horrible. And she goes, why are we watching this? And I just don't have an answer for it. And I'm like, well, we stopped watching that now.
I have to finish shows because I feel like if I've wasted 12 hours on a TV show, I need to know how that 12 hours ends.
No, yeah, I get it. But that's sunk cost fallacy. You're about to invest, that's saying, look, I've made a mistake. I don't want to watch this all the way through, but I feel compelled to watch it all the way through because I've spent 12 hours watching it. I'm all right walking away from stuff. I watched, what was that bloody, The Crown. I watched The Crown all the way up until they changed the Queen to someone else. And I was like, I just don't want to watch this anymore. I'm bored now. Don't really like the royal family. So I like them in this, but not enough to carry on watching it. The impact of this film, This is the big summer film, isn't it? They're not going to do something bigger than this. There isn't going to be anything bigger than this, is there?
Actually, there is a big film coming out either this week or next week. There's a new Spider-Man film, Tom Holland. Yet again.
This is the other thing that before I watched this film, I didn't watch any reviews, obviously, because I didn't want anyone to tell me what they thought of it. Because I'm a simple-minded person, and I really loved Alan Moore did a graphic novel called V for Vendetta, and it's one of the greatest things as a young 15-year-old. I just drank it in, read it over and over again, loved it, collected it, And then they made the film, and I made the mistake of watching Jonathan Ross, who's obviously another complete comic nut as well, with huge comic collection. And he was like, and he started slagging the film off. And when I went to watch the film, it ruined my impression of the film. So I've never done that since, because I'm easily led. If someone goes, "Oh, it's shit," then I'll go into it going, "Oh, yeah, it's shit." When I didn't want to do that. So, but
I only watch film reviews of films I've seen.
But the thing that got me was one of the few things I saw was someone saying, "Oh, this is going to be a flop. Everyone's got Zendaya fatigue," and I'm like, I don't even know what she's been in. What's she been in? Like, she's been in Spider-Man
movies, I believe.
Oh, I haven't seen the second one yet.
Doing part 2. She might be in part 1. I can't remember.
Right, that'll make
part 2, and will be in part 3, presumably.
And some TV show as well.
And she did Spider-Man films as well.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've ever seen her in. And like, I don't know how anyone could be offended, but she's great in this. I thought there's not a lot of scope to be terrible, but I thought she was right in this. I can't imagine why anyone would be pissed off with this film because of her.
She did a great job of being beheaded. I totally believe that she was beheaded.
Yeah. I really things like that really haunt you, don't they? What they should do, like when she's looking up and she obviously doesn't. No one really wants to be beheaded.
But they didn't show it though, did they? Like,
they showed the sadder thing is they show her about to be looking up at him, and that's, I've never seen anyone beheaded, but it should surprise no one to hear that. But in the world we live in. I don't get this.
For real, it would traumatize me. I'm pretty sure of it.
Yes, yeah. It'd be some kind of character if it didn't. Yeah. Odysseus was just as bad as Grandpa Joe.
Oh, Grandpa Joe is the biggest villain in cinema. I will die on this hill. He is the worst.
This is the one you were talking about from Willy Wonka, isn't it?
Yes. He is the worst because he's bedridden in that movie. Like, you'd think like he can't do anything. And the second I will admit, he did give a bit of money he'd saved to Charlie to buy the chocolate bar.
Oh, is he the nice? I thought he was like the way you were talking about it. He's nice. What are you on about?
Oh, he's lovely. But basically, he only gets out of bed because Charlie wins the golden ticket. And then he's
in bed to stay warm. I thought that they were in bed to stay warm, not because he's bedridden.
He was in bed basically because he's too fucking lazy to get out of bed.
You don't know what he's up to. He might be doing he might. I don't know.
Great.
If that's the sole basis, this is not as good as your Back to the Future theory. Like, because you said
he's the worst. He's the worst.
You said he's one of the two worst baddies in film. Him and Sally Field in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire just wants to be with her children. Simple as that. And obviously keep Pierce Brosnan away from his missus, presumably.
Yeah.
But
okay. So I think we're not privy to the long relationship she's endured with Robin Williams' character by that point. She might have developed the idea that and I think he demonstrates some of these personality traits throughout the film. He may not be the stable influence she dreamt of as a father figure for her children.
I think that's a fair point. But the same point is also that she's awful.
Well, valid rebuttal. Arrest my case.
I've never claimed to be a genius.
That's what makes you such a genius. 20 years. And Gary's here. Hello. Fever Pitch 20. Listen, we'll definitely review that. Fever Pitch 2026 will be great.
They've remade Fever Pitch again.
Of course, yeah, they've got to, because this one's even more important than Yeah, why not? You know.
What sport are they doing it in this time?
Well, it depends where you watch it, doesn't it? In India, it'll be kabaddi. In Australia, it'll be Aussie rules. America probably be golf. Uh, there aren't a lot of sports films. I think this is worth a MindCandy of its own. Um, I would quite like to do a MindCandy just of sports films, if I'm honest. Um, Fever Pitch is right up there. Do I think they're going to make Fever Pitch 2026? The whole film would have to have a lot of social media elements in it, wouldn't it?
I'd be terrified for it if they did a 2026 film, because the biggest thing I could pick out of the what is it, like 1995, the movie or something like that.
Well, when it actually came out, I think it was 98.
Yeah. All right, fair enough.
Came out when we won the league with Arsene Wenger,
yeah.
So that was the whole kind of
Yeah, that makes sense. But the biggest thing that I gathered from that movie is that Colin Firth's character should probably be in prison.
It's an autobiographical, but it's Nick Hornby. That is his life. He is a complete football nut. He was a teacher, and he was obsessed with Arsenal. It's a true story. It's not like Colin Firth is a weird choice for it, I've got to say. Really like
in hindsight, it's a weird choice for it. I enjoyed the movie because
at the time it was a weird choice. He's not convincingly.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's because it's Colin Firth doing that. It's a bit more like, I think it adds more to the fact he plays an abuser. And I know that's not what I'm supposed to get from it, is that basically Arsenal fans are abusers, but that Arsenal fan is a domestic abuser in waiting. Because when she presumably
waiting,
yeah, waiting.
I think she's more likely to beat 7 bells out of him than the other way round.
Interesting.
I don't think she's in any danger. I think he
would try though. That's what I think. He would get so het up that he would actually strike her, and then
and then she'd beat the shit out of him.
Hopefully.
No, I'd like to think so. No, I'm not in favour of domestic abuse in either case. You can't have to say things like that. I don't.
Disclaimer.
For God's sakes, if you're watching me and Tom thinking I'm with a notepad going everything they say, I'm going to try and do, then by all accounts, do send your money to do
watch 2000.
Watch Melania. I am going to watch it, and you'll be the first person I text when I watch it. But the thing with Colin Firth's character, if you watch film now, there are a lot of Arsenal fans like him, but in '98 there weren't, right? So in '98 he's not really. I mean, we're a North London club, so we weren't. At that point, Arsene Wenger's won his first title. Arsenal fans aren't a species you find all over the world. They're pretty much a species you find in Islington, Camden, Kentish Town, where I'm from. And he's a little bit middle class to really be going every Saturday. Do you know what I mean? He's got that kind of affected, do you know what I mean, mate? Whereas actually what I loved about going to Highbury was that everyone was basically, I'm not trying to say I'm digging a hole here, but he didn't come across as authentic to me.
If you'd have told me he was a Chelsea fan, it would be more of a case of, okay, I could totally believe that Colin Firth supports Chelsea.
Or rugby. I'd put it down to that. I'd say he's an utterly convincing Saracens fan. And he'd be like, yeah, come on, but I think he's a great actor and the role is iconic. And what's interesting is that as the game has morphed into a more wide-ranging, available to everyone, which is good, and I'm not against that. I'm not being I'm not doing that kind of classism in reverse. I'm not saying, stay out of our bloody beauty. No, I'm not doing all that. But I am saying that as the years have gone by, he looks like a more typical Arsenal fan now. There's a few Arsenal channels I really like, the Different Knock, for example, and I always forget the guy's name, but he's very much a Colin Firth, and I love it, and I think it's brilliant. Inclusivity everywhere, classes, everybody. But the film itself made the book, obviously, which I read a couple of times before I ever saw the film, made me think. But the film has a part in it where he starts to realize if your life's a bit shallow and empty, and all you've got is the football, you live your life in seasons. Whereas a lot of blokes, and I remember watching it at the time, and it hit a bit hard for me because I was totally obsessed with football. I go football every week. I talk about football. I was in most people's mobile phones as soon as they got them as Dan Gooner. I wasn't like, there was no doubt about what my priorities were. And I remember thinking, God, I'm never going to change. Don't be stupid. And in the film, you kind of see him going, actually, a wife and a kid and family. And I was like, no. And now I look back at it and think, actually, yeah, that is kind of true. But it hit home quite hard when he said that, football, this mania for football is just filling a gap in someone else in your life. Obviously, I've come back to football now. Footy show afterwards or tomorrow? I don't know. We'll see how we do after this, maybe. I'm up for it. I have a very late start tomorrow. I took today off to go and see a film, and I've taken the morning off to go to London. To go to the office. I'm going to say something outrageous, I wish you would. I'm active on a forum and it's amazing. I can tell which people are using voice to text. Tom, are you using voice to text? What is it? What do you mean? Like when they're in these, like, you can't do that on YouTube.
It's basically, for example, you go, hello, my name is Tom, and it will come up there spelled really badly because the AI doesn't.
Oh, are you kidding? You can do that on YouTube.
I don't know if you can do it on YouTube, but that's what I imagine voice to text is.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I don't mind. Some people get really upset when you leave. I hate typing on a phone. I'm just like, what am I? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just shit. So I like leaving little voice notes, and I've got mates who are like, don't do that. It's really annoying. It's like, well, so is you. It's not as annoying as writing one line, then pressing send, and then writing another line and pressing send, and then another line and press meep, meep, meep. My little phone going me. Fuck off. I'm going to drag us back to the Odyssey because it is an epic film. How do you summarize a film like this? though? What will you be saying to people? Will you be saying go and see it? It's brilliant.
The thing with this movie is, I would say, it obviously by the length of the movie, you kind of need to make time to see it. Like, because obviously, conversely, like, there's another movie, I'll quickly find that Power Ballad, for example, with Paul Rudd, and that was like an hour and a half. So obviously, that's an easy watch. This is not an easy watch.
I love. See, this is why you're such an important person to have on the show, because you just go and watch stuff. I can't do that. I'm like, oh, it's an hour and a half of my life I'm not getting back. There's not a prayer that I would go and see something called Power Ballad.
It's not a horrendous movie, I'll say that much. The crux of Power Ballad is basically he's a foul band singer, and Paul Rudd obviously, and he goes to a wedding to play a tune or whatever, and for the wedding guests. But then obviously an important guest there of the friend of the groom is a famous singer in America, and so obviously when they are away from everyone, they jam out a bit, and basically Paul Rudd gives him some lyrics for a song, and he goes back home and then releases the song in America, and it becomes a big hit. So obviously no one believes Paul Rudd that happened.
Yeah.
And there's no proof of it, and it escalates from there.
God, if I had a quid every time that happened to me, like I was just hanging out with Axl Rose, and I was like, and he saw a picture of my missus, and he said, "Is that?" I was like, "It's just some sweet child of mine." And these things happen. You just get used to it, don't you? I like the Eddie Van Halen lead part in Beat It. And when he was being asked about it, and he goes, he didn't get credit for it because at the time, the band, they weren't doing outside projects. So Quincy Jones phones him up and says, will you come and play a bit of guitar on this? And he basically rewrote the guitar part because it's just one chord before then. And he and then he plays this incredible, which totally makes a song for guitar freaks. And it's like, it's like the best selling single of all time. Yeah. But you didn't get a penny on it. No, well, only took me 20 minutes. I just love that. Now, it's all right for him because he's been quite successful. But if that's the one thing that you've done, yeah, you'd want a couple of quid for that, wouldn't you? So like to sort of kind of summarize a film as epic as the Odyssey, you don't have to have. I think we've both proved, if proof be need be, that you don't have to have read the classics to enjoy this film. I still have no idea how close it is to the versions that come out recently. There's apparently been an updated version that everyone went really pissy about, that it's completely too contemporaneous. Obviously, there's been controversy around this film for its use of more modern language, for some of the casting that we've already discussed. So I can't speak to all those things. But if I didn't know there was a film, there was a story, and this, I just thought Christopher Nolan had written this. I was thinking about this. If you didn't know that it was based on the oldest European story, the birthplace of all drama, would you think it was a great story? How much would you think about it? We kind of know this as a film that he's adapted from the older story, but what did you think of it in that kind of standalone context?
I think it's a good story because you don't know what's coming next. Like, don't know what monster he's going to run into, essentially.
Yeah, I did think there'd be more. I did think there'd be more monsters, and there's some that aren't really explained, like those giant fucking knights who say "knee" that they run into.
Yes, a lot of it's not explained. I think that's what makes it more interesting.
But do you think it's not explained because they're like, well, that's the part where they go to the island, or is it just because? Well, how are you going to explain it? Fucking hell, they were lads.
Why does everything need an explanation?
No, I'm not arguing that. That's a brilliant and concise and brilliantly put point. No, it doesn't. And actually, aren't films always a bit shitter when they explain stuff anyway? Because you're like, my classic for that is when someone goes, "Hey sis," you go, "Oh, is that your sister?" "Hey sis, do you remember that time Mum and Dad told us that we should never use our superpowers? Your superpower for becoming invisible and my superpower for flying." "Yes, I remember that conversation. Why?" "Nothing." And then, that plot moving dialogue is fucking irritating. However, I didn't really get what was going on at all with those blokes in the armor that just were fucking mahoosive. And there's one of the best effects, again, which I don't think, I think this might be CGI, where he grabs one of them and throws him against a tree. So I would guess that was probably not done in real life. There isn't a stunt man with loads of padding somewhere going, "I'm not doing that take again."
It was a crunch will stick with me for a while.
The crutch?
The crunch of him hitting the
ball.
Oh,
yeah. But that just felt like that none of these. Obviously, it's a saga, but they're not heroic, are they? Like, from the very first point they walk into that cave behind the one lone sheep, you're like, mate, that's a bad move, right? Like, militarist. This is the general who this is the king who used his intelligence to win the Trojan Wars, heralding a new era of war being fought mentally, not just by physically trying to grind each other down. And yet he's the same bumbling idiot. Goes, "Come with me, guys. We're going to this cave. We're following the sheep. Yeah, it'll be fine." So there's that, and then there's just like, and then them trying to get away. That wasn't particularly massively intelligent. And then they just arrive on this island and there's quick run away. It felt Monty Python to me. It really did feel like they've stumbled upon the knights who say "knee," and they're about 30% bigger than them. And then also there's them running into the sea, because I thought, well, that's clever, because I tell you what, these fuckers aren't following you. It's into the ocean, because they'll sink, but even then they're turning this boat over and he leaves all his mates behind, and then they go off in another bit. And the thing that I know, this is the text, right? I know that basically obviously you have to follow the story to some degree. You can't have them veer wildly off. But so he gets told, if you go onto this island, those are the gods' cattle, and if you eat them, everyone will die. And then he wakes up and he's, where is everyone? And they're all sitting in a little trench eating this cow quietly. And he's like, "What are you doing? Did you think that people wouldn't see you?" He's like, "Oh, I thought you wouldn't see it." And then they all die. And you're like, this is a silly film, isn't it? Like, why is everyone doing everything they know they're going to die anyway? And then I think Boyton Diaz put it as well as you can do. It's a Chris Nolan film. It has to be good. But we both didn't like Oppenheimer, so deal with that. And look, it's bad audio, Bobby. Evening all. I have to say, we had Colles on the show the other night, and he's totally taken your bad audio. Your audio is fantastic. It's bloody good to see you. I thought the scene where the witch changes into pigs was so hard to figure out what was happening. I disagree. Well, you've alighted on the only part of the film that Tom took a piss break through. So he went the worst. How do you decide when to go for
pigs?
Yeah.
So I had to watch them get turned back into humans.
It was a really good horror film scene. It really was. And it was quite moving. But honestly, Mark Commode is like, I thought if she doesn't get an Oscar for that, like 2.5 minutes of acting, I was like, she's all right. I thought Anne Hathaway would probably be pissed off if someone else gets an Oscar.
Just, if she gets an Oscar for that, I'll be sitting there thinking, didn't Marlon Brando get an Oscar for like 9 words or whatever? Or no, Annie Hopkins
for Superman.
For Hannibal Lecter when he's barely in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really trust the Oscar. Oscars are full of shit. We're going to have to come up with our own way of doing this, right? We're going to have to do something a bit better than the Oscars anyway, because how is Matt Damon Greek? Yeah, he's not. They verge. I don't think there's a single Greek person in it. In the key roles, I don't think there's a single Greek person in it at all. Tom's bladder makes sure he avoids the worst part of films. Nope, this one's ruined him. This one, the bladder let you down here. Although you really shouldn't trust the bladder anyway when it comes to making film decisions.
It's a 3-hour film and I had a large Pepsi Max. What am I supposed to do?
Well, what did the Pepsi Max come in?
In a giant cup. I see what you're saying.
No one would blame you. There were only 10 people in the cinema anyway.
That's a fair point. I did consider it, but at the same point, I was like, it'd be the worst thing to get caught doing. No, it
wouldn't be the worst thing to get caught doing. Like it would be not a great thing to get caught doing, but people have been caught doing.
I could just throw the cup at them and run off.
How did I know that our review of the Odyssey would end up here? Tom running away, showering people in his cold piss. How is Matt Damon Greek? Is that's not fair. Well, we did kind of. I have an appetite to talk about these things because I find them controversial. I think most people are in that kind of. I think 5% are really angry that the casting isn't all Greek people. 5% are just angry anyway on the other end, and somewhere in the middle, everyone in the middle is like, I don't really think of. First of all, let me introduce the pedantry of my mind. None of them were Greek. This is before people were called Greek, so these aren't Greek people. They're from a place which is now Greece. But you wouldn't cast. They don't have to come from Ithaca to be in a film, like about. And as I said right at the beginning. This is all made up, right? So I don't need you to, but the reason, and I accept the reason it's being talked about, is because it's cultural appropriation if you put somebody who's Greek in a film playing someone from the South Pacific. But if you put someone from the South Pacific in a film pretending to be Greek, that's all fine. My personal view on it, as I stated right at the beginning of this, is there's no such thing as cultural appropriation. You're allowed to take whatever you want. We share stuff. There's no such thing as culture anyway, all right? So let's just everybody get on board with it. If an American person wants to take a Frankfurter and turn it into a hot dog, that's good. Everyone enjoys the same things. Lovely. I'm not going to rush around saying it has to be pronounced Frankfurter. You can't do that. I'm not doing that. So Terence Tibbs, always good to see you. Ni hao. No way any of the cast can get an Oscar. Have you seen it, Bobby? Because I totally get it. I mean, actually, Tom, let me ask you. You dishing out any Oscars for this? I mean, for acting, not for.
Probably not, but
not even Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. I'm Odysseus.
You know what? Just to get a reaction, give it to Elliot Page.
Oh,
Best
yes.
actor. Best actor.
What's that line in the? What's that line in the Joker? I wouldn't know what to do. You're like the Joker. It's like Michael Caine says about you. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Watch the world burn.
I love the inclusion of Elliot Page in this film because I was saying this to Mrs. There's no way he's gone. Why? What do you mean controversy? What do you mean? Like Elliot Page is the obvious choice to play a Greek warrior. What? Like, I don't even understand what the question is. Have you not seen him? You know, that menacing, piercing look. He looks every inch. Well, not every inch. He looks about 2/3 of every inch of a Greek warrior. It's a lot of great Greek warriors were 5'1" as well. It's not, it's not an impediment. Of course, he looks a bit like a young boy, and his voice is a bit.
Scene where Elliot Page defeated someone in arm wrestle that was twice the size of him.
You did? What was that? Is that something?
Have him defeat someone twice the size of him at an arm wrestle.
Well, I would quite like him to have been doing some fight scenes and, like at the end, kill everyone. Just go, yeah, this is believable. Okay. Oscars are fixed and football is fixed.
And when they walk into the cave to follow the goat, I almost wanted Matt Damon to turn to the camera and go, "'Cause the plot says so." Yeah, that's how I would have done it. I would have probably done it. I'm only going in here to execute this poor decision because the plot says I will.
It's demanded by a story which is 3,000 something years old, so you were doing it, lad. But wouldn't that be a great way? I think that's if you and I were film directors, the film would be a bit more like that. It'd be more of a lad story. What do you mean go in a cave? Shut up, go in a cave. Why are we going in a cave? We're following a sheep, but there'd be other sheep about, wouldn't there? It's not the only sheep, and it's going in a cave. I'm not going in a cave. Fuck off, cave. Now, come on, there'll be other sheep in a cave. Fuck off, will there? It's like, I'm going Nando's. You all go in the cave. I'm going Nando's. But no, there you go. They made that was a very poor decision, and it didn't seem like anyone challenged it. And then they're like, oh, fucking course, there's a massive giant in there. Massive fucking giant, probably a Chelsea fan. Oh. And then why did they stab him in the eye? That just felt cruel.
To me, that would have been the first thing I'd have done in that situation. Now, I'm not saying
the first thing you would have done is the first thing I would have done, and the first thing any right-minded thinking person would have done.
Run, obviously, and get out of the cave.
Yeah, fucking on your toes.
The realistic thing is to leave and basically just get out of that cave, obviously.
If you were in a cave with a fucking massive cyclops, have it on your toes.
Yeah, I'm not going to feel like I'm going to beat up the cyclops. I'd be dead in 12 seconds. But when they're doing their plan, I'm sitting there thinking, why don't you
just go?
Why don't you poke it in the eye?
Poke it in the eye. It just felt. Essentially, what you're talking about there in this part of the film is a home invasion followed by a really unkind act of horrifying violence. Yes. I mean, poking anyone in the eye is a shitty thing to do. But when he's only got the one eye, do you know what I mean? That's just shit. I think you could do a sequel to that film with a Cyclops just sitting there with a massive cup of tea going, what are you fucking doing that for? Oh, not fair. And there is a great line in it where they find out the Cyclops can talk. And he goes, well, why didn't he talk sooner? He goes, do you talk to ants? And I know some of you do, so I'm not criticizing, but I talk to my cat. Anyway, one Greek was in it. Go on then. Who was it, Chris? Who am I missing? Was there? Is that just a thing you say, knowing that I'll now go and look that up for the next 2 hours and be going through? I think casting was just too Hollywood. I think if you've got a massive budget for a Hollywood film, it's going to be quite Hollywoody. I mean, I loved Matt Damon in this. I go through the cast and say Matt Damon, no problem with him. I thought he was but I'd not thought of the way that you put it, Tom, which is basically every Matt Damon film now is just him trying to get home. Just
that is the Matt Damon move. That's his career. Every film he's in, he's trying to go home, and it's all good.
He plays this. This is a slightly different Matt Damon. In The Martian, he's basically lovable Matt Damon stranded on Mars, growing potatoes out of his shit. No, I'm sorry to spoiler it, but that is pretty much the whole film. And in this, he's a little bit more nuanced than that. You know, he does play the tortured soul. I feel like I've said it already. I think the film is about post-traumatic stress disorder, about warriors that can't come home. I think that's a story in a story. I think it's the horrors of war and all those kinds of things, which I'm really a big fan of. Hollywood is Zionist propaganda. Okay. I have no opinion on that. I'm not just saying that to be, not.
I don't understand politics nearly enough to have a conversation on it.
I certainly, the use of the term Zionist for me, it's just antagonistic. It literally is always just going to cause an argument, and I'm not here for that. You would be arrested for indecent exposure. Is there decent exposure? Is there such a thing as decent exposure? Is all
Not
exposure? Exactly. I'm like, it's not like they're gonna hang on a minute. Oh, it's all right. It's you, Tom. That's actually pretty decent. Well done. Crack on, son. Can I have a picture? What have you missed?
I did fish in a cup once.
What do you mean once? We've all done it.
Yeah.
Actually, I realised as I'm saying that with so much calm certainty, I'm like, oh, really? No, like, come on. Obviously, massive, fucking, great big bucket. It wasn't like a tiny little can of Coke or something. Anyway,
I made sure to go to the bathroom as soon as the movie ended to tip it out into the toilet.
Oh, you did it in a... No, you didn't.
Some class with it.
You've got to be a bit classy, yes. And I did bring my own cup. Awesome. I am at the point now where I'm thinking they are having such a laugh. If you're buying one of those bottles of Coca-Cola, I bought... Dominique had the pink lemonade. Fair enough. I had the Pepsi cream soda flavour. Loved it, by the way. But it was a tenner for those two drinks. Are we joking now? Like, what are we doing? Like, honestly. Anyway, Greeks used to be Asian. We all used to be African. How's that? Eastern people became white. I believe that's probably true. I just want the best actor for the role. Amen to that. That's all that matters, isn't it? Especially if it's a mythological role anyway. What's that?
That actor is usually Carl Weathers.
R.I.P.
He was great. In the movie that I'll make up, and I will drag his corpse out of the ground to be in.
That is the respectful thing to do if you like his body of work. Exhume him and exalt him.
Yeah. My legal team have told me to apologise to the estate of Carl Weathers.
I watched it, didn't blow me away at all. No, I can understand that. But then we were earlier, we were talking about, Tom and I didn't rate Oppenheimer. But people do. You couldn't make me watch Twin Towers again. There are just some films I think that's what is fantastic about films, isn't it? That we don't join little gangs, and it's not like football where you're entrenched in one viewpoint. Like, I think it will surprise you. Usually it's people you respect. Like, obviously Bobby's saying he didn't enjoy. I get it. I can put myself in a perspective of a person who didn't enjoy this. But for me, it was cinematic. Did you watch it in an IMAX, or did you watch it?
I don't believe it was an IMAX. I watched it on what they call super screen. It's basically just a massive wall-to-wall projector.
But that's right. So you still enjoyed it. We still watched the same film. I mean, the fact that mine was there was a bit more Sky that I didn't watch. Because
it was great.
Yeah, it happened. It wasn't in black and white or anything. Elliot Anderson. Tom is actually evil. Would be a social media disaster if Elliot won the Oscar, and that makes me want it to happen so much more.
That's not even in the top 10 of the things that are the most evil things I've said. But okay.
stick here for more. I'd love to be an adult movie director, but Shakespearean. Well, I had a friend who used to, is my mate Jimmy. We used to call him Jimmy the Porn. He used to write scripts and help make porn films. And I remember when he told me what he did for a living, because I was playing poker at the time, and he was, "What do you do?" I said, "I play poker." He goes, "Well, what do you do?" He goes, "Oh, I write scripts for porn films." I was like, "What do you mean script? What are you on about?" Like, he goes, "The script's actually really important." I was like, "Fucking no, it isn't, Jimmy. No, it isn't." And he goes, "They give awards for it and everything." I was like, "Yeah, but okay then, yeah." Fucking.
How many of you won?
Yeah, yet to win. No, but come on, man. Like, you know what? Like, what are we doing here? Just that line has stayed with me forever. You know, when she says, "No, I'm not going to do this. It's not the show for that." Don't think any of the talent will know Shakespeare. Well, I used to ask the ants questions, but I was like 5 years old. Stavros, old man who spoke Greek. Yeah, but like, okay, yeah, I can't say that none
Happy
of the
birthday
extras.
for yesterday, Chris, by the way.
Happy birthday to you. Can't do that. That's actually, is it copyrighted? I never remember anymore. Travis Scott is a strange casting though. Who did he play? Did he have lines? Yeah, he did. He was the narrator at the beginning. He didn't want to go home in Interstellar. I can't remember now. He did.
What?
Didn't they all want to go?
He totally wanted to go home, but he obviously needed to get them to come to him thinking he was in danger, or not danger, sorry. They wouldn't, if they ever thought he was in danger, they wouldn't have turned up. But because he made them think the planet was habitable, they turned up. And he intended on basically killing them and taking the ship over.
I need to watch it again. I remember enjoying it, but I don't remember it. This is really bad.
Of it.
No, it's ringing bells now. Isn't it the one with Matthew McConaughey in it?
Yes, because obviously
Matthew
McConaughey does him in.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey. What's his catchphrase? I have to try and remember his catchphrase. I pissed in. This is us, isn't it? This is a movie show. I'm trying to be highbrow here. We're doing an intellectual movie based on, the classics. And then I'm reading out. I pissed in this girl's ornamental vase because I was too drunk to walk up the stairs to the toilet. There you go.
We've all done that.
We're in a niche. I don't want to turn this show. May I speak from the heart and honestly, as I always intend to. I would quite like to turn this show into where's the weirdest place you've taken a slash, but I just think, maybe not today. I don't know though. Like, I am tempted. Anyway, I had far too high expectations. Yeah, see, that's your problem. I think I won't speak for you, Tom. I went into this going, it could be shit, it could be great. Yeah, well, that's part of the beauty of your attitude to cinema, if you don't mind me saying. It's like you go, well, I'm not going to bring any of my prejudgment. But apparently your bladder brought some. It was like...
My bladder was like, nope.
you know exactly... When you look at one of those big cups of Pepsi and you go, yeah, I'm going to need to piss at some point. I can't just absorb this.
In my defense, the only options were basically either having a massive drink, knowing I'm going to piss halfway through the film, or not have the drink and then just sit there. Basically, it was a really hot day, let's be fair. And obviously, I know the room isn't hot, but generally speaking, I'm sat there.
Oh, ours was beautifully air conditioned. Yeah. Ours, we walked in and it was a delight. It was like, whew. Been for a Caribbean.
Exactly. I wouldn't change it for the world, because a cinema is a silent room, apart from the film, obviously, with a perfect temperature control. It's one of the best places.
Although, what was your experience of the sound?
It was fine.
Right, ours was too bloody loud. I looked around. Dominique was like that at one point, and I thought, I wonder if anyone else is. And a woman sitting next to me was like that as well. They're like, IMAX. I felt like a teenager was doing the sound. You just want to go. No. Also, this is my age. I was sitting there thinking, how have they soundproofed it? Because the people next door must be watching something else and getting this. This is just too much. Quiet down in here. I love this comment, by the way. This is my favorite comment of the night. And it's helped me to reach a judgment. Stories like this is why I bring my own kettle to a hotel. And you know what? I'm abandoning all, like, for this show and all future shows. I'm abandoning the pretentious movie reviewer, and I do just want to know, where is the strangest place you've had a slash? But that's one of my favorite comments of all time in the chat. That's why I bring my own kettle to a hotel. That would never have occurred to me, but I think I might do that from now on. Unfortunately, just a normal screen. I think it was a good movie, but I was expecting something incredible. Yeah, when's that ever a good idea, though? What was the last time you went and saw a film thinking, I'm going to love this, and then actually loved it? You know? When does that ever happen? When I saw Toy Story 4. I still haven't seen Toy Story 5. Every time I go to a film... Huh? Yeah, I tell you what.
Really good.
What about The Hangover Part 3? I was like, this is going to be fucking brilliant. First, I love the first two, and it was like...
I never watched Hangover Part 3 until about 2019.
What do you want? Like, it is what it is, isn't it? It's like, let's not do any more now, boys. The person in charge of wardrobe deserves a raise for Agamemnon. I hate to be this guy, but I can't remember who was playing, what he was wearing, or anything. Like, tell us more, Jose. Porn script writer.
How long it was into the movie? Well, I realised that basically the Odyssey is basically Matt Damon's character name, because it's Odysseus.
Yeah.
Because in the film they were calling him Decius, to which I'm sitting there thinking, who's this motherfucker?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is my ignorance of the classics, because I was like, I remember the cartoon that I referenced earlier called Ulysses, and I thought his name was Ulysses, and so I don't know. But anyway, porn script writer is not a real job. That's what I say. But it isn't really, because he was kind of doing other work because it didn't pay well. Cheers, chaps. All right. That's it. Luke Watts is in. All right. Right, from now on, Luke, when you come, you've got to do the Matthew McConaughey. It suits you, mate. All right. It was a huge vase. Well, that makes us all feel better. It's a fucking huge one. Well, it basically don't even need to tip it out. Evaporation will take care of that. High fructose corn syrup for the win. My bladder is kind of bulletproof, so I never had to go to the toilet while watching a movie. And I always brought the largest drink available. Yeah, as you get older, mate, you're just taking this shit for granted now. You get to a certain...
if you ever have a stroke, God forbid you won't, but then your body might make changes.
Changes.
Become different, let's just say.
You should get a fucking card. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking as I speak. This will become clear. You should get a card, which basically means if you do need to piss in a cup in a cinema, you go, look, I've had a stroke, mate. And everyone will be like, oh, all right, okay.
I'll just hang it up in the air on a pole.
Just go, I've got a card, mate. I've got a card. This is, I've got to. I don't want to. A bit I want to. But mostly I've got to. So here's the card. Do you want to hold that for a second? They'll be like, no, you're all right.
I could make it to the bathroom, but why should I have to?
Yeah. Don't persecute me, you fuckers. Oh, make the card. No one's going to check that for authenticity anyway if you're slashing in a Pepsi cup. Hang on. That doesn't look genuine. Yeah, do you want to hold it? No, I don't want to hold it. Sorry, it's a bit damp. But eventually I stopped buying popcorn because, like, I'm not finishing the drink in the popcorn, maybe a small popcorn. Popcorn. It's just, listen, it's like mince pies, isn't it? People always say, oh, I like mince pies. And go, oh, yeah, they're fucking brilliant. That's why you can only buy them at Christmas. Do you know what I mean? Like, the stuff that you can only buy seasonally is not delicious. All right? Do you know what I mean? Turkey. Oh, turkey's my favourite meat. All right, well, you belong in a hospital.
It's the one thing I agree with Gary Neville on. Now, I don't dislike turkey. Right, this is not the point what I'm saying, but he doesn't like turkey. But how he described it in conversation with Roy Keane, I just happened to see a clip of this. He basically turned around and said, Roy, if turkey was so great, you would be able to buy it other times a year. Yeah,
and people would buy it other times a year.
It's dry.
It's not a good. I once did a diet where it was like a standard sort of diet, and I was looking around for things that were low calorie because it's got no fat or flavor or point to it. It's really low calorie from meat. So I spent a lot of time eating it and doing that thing that people on diets go, it's actually quite nice. It's actually quite nice. And then I accidentally had some chicken once. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, turkey shit, isn't it? I'm not eating that ever again. And I'm sick of chewing food this much. Hangover Part 3 was hilarious. No, it wasn't. Expectations ruin movies. Very rare that a movie exceeds expectations. I completely agree. Hungover, great porn movie. It probably is. Body already changing. I can't recline as recklessly in the movie theater seats now. I have to sit up straight for most of the movie. Yeah. Teens have no clue how lucky they are having spines made of rubber and magic. It's so true. Oh, wait. Tom actually is invested in the zombie game updates. Standard movie theater, or I don't know if you are or not. Are you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, oh, there you go. That tells you everything you need.
He's invested in telling us.
Agreed. Standard movie theater order is large popcorn, extra large drink, and a box of gummy candies. Yeah, we have pick and mix here. So basically, there's 15 very cheap sweets, all which promise far more than they deliver. And you pile them into a reinforced paper bag until they're just uncomfortable enough to lift. And then you have them weighed, and somebody demands a small fortune from you. And you're like, I should just buy a kilo of sugar next time and bring that with me. How is this all made from sugar cost 50 times what the... Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not this much artistry going into these things. But I spent literally, it's just me and a missus. She got her own pick and mix. I got one, 22 quid. And you're thinking, I've just spent 22 quid on tiny bits of really disgusting fudge and cola bottles. How many cola bottles? If you said to me, Dan, how many cola bottles do you think 22 quid would buy you? It wouldn't be 8 or 9. You know? Anyway, I feel like I'm doing it like I want to keep cinemas open, and I look around me and I think, they look like they're doing all right. Maybe hire 1 or 2 fewer people. More robots serving me pick and mix. I'd take that. I'm fucking serving myself pick and mix anyway. It's inherent in the whole brand of it. It's like you get a little shovel and you I'm doing all the work. Karl Marx would have something to say about this. Right. Okay. I mean, to be fair, I haven't got a fucking Scooby what you're talking about. But I know that Tom's...
I'm invested in the inner politics of his server game.
Yes. It's probably cheaper to sneak your own snacks. You don't even have to sneak them, because the people working... It's that scene in Pulp Fiction, isn't it? You go holding up a convenience store, because like the guy there is, holding up a restaurant. Is anyone really going to stop you? If I walk into cinema with a face on me and a packet of fucking sweets, I really don't think one of these 17-year-old acne having people is going to go, oh, you're not allowed to bring that in here. I go, no, you're not allowed to bring a gun either. Do you know what I mean? Do you want to search me? No, fuck off. Also, how can it be illegal to bring your own sweets somewhere? What law is that?
I snuck a Five Guys burger into a cinema and I regretted it afterwards because...
You snuck a burger. Say that again. You snuck a burger into a Five Guys.
Five Guys into a movie, right? And
oh right. Okay.
I can tell you what the movie was. The movie was 21 Bridges with Chadwick Boseman. It was part of the 5 movies in one day that I did.
Okay.
Anyway.
But they don't really listen. I don't blame anyone. I mate, take a burger into. I thought you were saying you smuggled a burger into a Five Guys. I was like, that's just needlessly cruel.
Well, no, that's like smuggling a burger into McDonald's. It's like,
like smuggle a pizza into a Pizza Express one.
Smuggle God into a church. I mean, they'd be thrilled.
Be like, tell you what, give me an idea, and I won't do this, but I should do this. I want to buy one of those Pizza Express pizzas in the Sainsbury's and take it into a Pizza Express and ask them to heat it up for me. I mean, surely they'd have to let you. Surely.
They probably would, just out of the sheer shock and audacity of you.
That someone's still coming into a Pizza Express. They'd be like, fucking hell, we didn't know you were coming in. Thanks for being here. Every family has a designated snack smuggler. It was just me and a missus today. But I don't think I'd be brazen about it. I go, yeah, well, have you seen what you charge? I bought this pack of Rebels in here. It was £5. I went next door to the supermarket and it was £1.99. You tell me. I can afford to walk a bit to get my Rebels. That sounded a lot more fun than I meant it to. One time we snuck KFC into the theatre, hid them in my hoodie. I was kind of disappointed that day not to have the extra large drink. I can see someone smuggling, but eating a KFC in a cinema, that's my mum literally gets Tupperware out. She'll have bits of leftovers from the day. She has like a little mini picnic in there. Last time I went to a cinema with her was up in the northeast. She was visiting Newcastle, and it was to see Anchorman 2. And when Harrison Ford appeared, she went, "Oh, is that Harrison Ford's dad?" really loudly. And it was one of the moments that everyone in the cinema laughed, and they were all looking at my mum. And I was going, "That's my mum." I was like, "No, mum, that's Harrison Ford." "Oh, hasn't he got old?" I was like, "Yeah, yes." To be fair, you know, you do remember him from 35 years ago. So to be fair, yeah, yes, he's now 35 years older. Yeah, look, they want to know. Boy Tendio, 5 movies in a day. Tom is like my cousin that never got over his infinite movie phase. What is the? I know I've asked you this before. What is it? You're on some sort of? Did you win? Like, did you some frequent miles or frequent? Did you go to so many films they just went right from now on? You just come for free.
My local cinema, Cineworld, basically is 20. At the time, it was £17 a month. It's now £20 a month because obviously my cinema's at the O2 Arena, so obviously that's kind of a premium comparatively.
Yeah.
But basically, I can watch as many movies in a month for £20.
Fucking brilliant.
Yeah, so
I would do that. Is that and that so? Because in the 47 minutes I was sitting there being bombarded with, please buy more crap, please buy more crap. One of them was, which of these benefits do you get from an Infinity Pass? And it was like 25% off local restaurants, you know, and etc. That's right, all of them. And I was thinking, I might look into this, but at this point, I'm so sick of your advertising efforts. I don't want to. Also, I go to the cinema once a month, so I wouldn't really be saving any money.
Yeah. Whereas I tend to, I'll say for argument's sake, I'd say go once a week, but even if I don't go this week, I will basically, or next week, I will then watch 2 movies a week after to kind of make up for it. And
yeah,
because it's cheaper in travel.
You know what's interesting actually? Like, for years, there's been this worry that cinemas are disappearing or that there aren't enough. This film, The Odyssey, whatever you think of it, I know not everyone's going to love this film. I would say it's an 8 out of 10 as well. But there are still films like this where you pretty much have to go to the cinema. It is an event to go to the cinema. We have a cinema literally 60 seconds walk from our front door. It's a very old-fashioned. I have never been there. I've lived here for 6-7 years now. Never been. It just doesn't appeal to me. And you know, Mrs. was like, "Oh, come on, let's go to the cinema there." And I was like, "But it's just a normal screen. Like, if I'm just watching a normal screen in a normal old cinema that's like been around for over 104 years now, then I might as well just wait for it to come out on telly." So that's how I watch most of my films. I watch most of my films on telly. And then if I've watched it already on a big screen, I tend to be all right watching it on my phone. You know, it's not a massive screen, but that's usually enough to watch a film on. What did I...
When I did my 365 movies in a year, one of the movies, it was called Dead Man's Shoes, I believe. It was...
Oh, it's a good film.
Yeah, I watched that on YouTube. On my phone.
Yeah. I'm surprised. You know what, we should think about doing this, like a watch along from one of the films that's free on YouTube, where everyone can just watch it along. Like, I'm surprised how many good films are on YouTube for free. This isn't, by the way, this isn't like me. I'm not sponsored by YouTube in any way. If anything, I'm sponsoring YouTube. But I
don't know the legalities of it. Like,
I couldn't show it. No, I can't show it. But there'd be no excuse for someone watching along because you go, well, I know you've got YouTube.
Well, based on what you're describing, me and Sam have done that for 2 Christmases running. Where basically I watched the film and Sam watches the film and we talk about it as we watch it.
But at least if you're watching a film and he's watching a film that's available for free on the same platform, you're both hosting the fact you're watching a film, then everyone can watch it along. You know? And I think that's I think that works. It makes far more fucking sense than a football watch along. Do you know what I mean? Unless someone skips ahead or there's spoilers.
To be fair though, one of the movies was Santa with Muscles, starring Hulk Hogan, and the other movie was They Live, starring Roddy Piper.
Is that who he is? Is he a wrestler?
Yeah.
Oh, that film, I've only ever seen clips of it, but it's the one where he puts the glasses on, isn't it?
Yes.
And he sees the world as it really is.
It really was a US #1 movie at the time.
Okay.
Good movie.
I don't know if those two things naturally doesn't necessarily mean it's a good movie because it was US #1 film. But...
No, that's fair actually, because that just means it was a popular movie for 1 week.
Yes, in America.
And to be fair, more accurately, that was the week where basically the day after Thanksgiving, presumably, or not, whatever it was, would have been Back to the Future 2 came out, and then let's just put it this way: They Live was not '1 the next week.
Do you are forever entwined with that franchise for me? What did you make of Back to the Future 2? Because
it's the best of the 3 movies.
I had a feeling you were going to say that, and yet I don't know if I can agree with that. But that's for another day.
It makes the best use of the time travel concept.
Does he? Doesn't he go into the? He goes into the future, right? He goes into the future. Yeah. Does he try and fuck one of his kids in the future to get back?
He does not go that far.
See, that's what's letting that franchise down. It should become clear by the end of the second film, or even by the middle of the second film, that this guy's just a wrong un. Do you know what I mean? He's just an absolute wrong un. And like by the third one, we're like, no, we're not going to when your grandmother was 19. We've done the Holy Trinity now. Enough. So I don't. Marty's a classic case of a wrong un in space and time.
They couldn't do the movie now anyway. I was saying that you could do the movie, but then it'd be like, Marty, you're shaking a lot. Are you nervous?
Oh, don't.
Yeah, you could say that.
See, the thing is, if I involuntarily laugh, I'm the bad person because you're just telling the joke. I'm the one who found it funny, so now I'm a shit.
Do you know what I mean? Tango.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And I can't. That was one of those ones where I laughed, and I was like, oh no, don't laugh at that. And it was too late. I'm already a shit.
As Jimmy Carr said on his stand-up, he went, you can make the joke, but then you all went, oh, you all did the where you shouldn't be laughing, but you did it anyway.
And that's what I love about comedy, because there's no political correctness. If you laugh, you don't get to be politically correct about it. And I was just going to tell you off for telling the joke, and I was like, no, I laughed. You should only eat 3 things in a sentence. You should only, I think you mean eat, popcorn, sweets, and manger. I find he's changed the word eat there. I wanted a shawarma to sneak in.
I didn't finish saying, because obviously this was leg 4 of my 5 movies, and basically I had the grease from the burger had come out of the foil into my pocket. So I had to sit through the 21 Bridges and then Last Christmas with Amelia Clark. I think her name's Amelia Clark. Anyway.
Oh, what the old what's her name? Prince Dragon.
Game of Thrones. It was really about George Michael, the film.
Oh no, George Michael. Sorry.
Different Michael.
What's it? The joke about George Michael? What stops when you open the door? A microwave and George Michael. Anyway, God rest his soul. If Time's So Right, the movie is a 20th Century Fox bit, then I've played a blinder. Screen on the Green, Islington. Yes. Have I ever been in there? Do you know? I don't actually think I've ever been in the screening. Oh no, I have. I saw Hey Hell Rock and Roll in there. No, I have. I've been a couple of times actually. Cinema to Telly is like 4 months now. Yeah. I think there are a lot of old movies on YouTube now. I think the copyright's expired on them because they don't get deleted. There's a load. And some really good ones as well. Really good ones. I was like, oh, definitely. Oh, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead. I watched half of that. I really liked it. One word, hoverboard. You were thinking it, but you said it. Hoverboard. I wouldn't get on a hoverboard. That's another thing. Age creeping up on you. Nah. Don't need to.
When I think of Michael J. Fox, I don't think of hoverboard.
No, I think of his mum.
I think of incest.
Yeah, Michael J. Incest. Back to the motherfucking future.
The J is for incest.
I told you, didn't I? Like, I want to do a classic cartoon series where a succession of people bother Doc to let him go back in time and fuck their mums. And he's like, what is wrong with you people? I need to go back and fuck my mum too. We all need to go back and fuck his mum.
Well,
okay.
It's funny you all say that. The first thing that entered my head when you were saying, why don't we all say the weirdest place we've ever pissed? And I thought, well, that's easy. I once pissed in my mum when I was inside.
Every day.
Of course.
Every day.
Yeah, that's not PG, of course, but it entered my mind where I was like, how comfortable is it for me to say this online and not get picked up against me?
Apparently fully. I still think that's probably better than a kettle in a hotel, so I still think everyone would be happier if you do. And, you know, if we were really that kind of show, I'd be going, yeah, we've all done that, Tom. And I wasn't even just dating, mate. So that basically was... The reality is, if I'm a British sitcom character, I've had all these pretensions. Look, I'm wearing my pretentious hat. I've got a pretentious shirt on. I want to talk about Odysseus and the classics. And here I am talking about incest and pissing in your mum. So, like, it is what it is. I'm embracing it. You know, it's a pub. This is, you know, I love you guys. And to be honest with you, I'd much rather talk about strange places to piss. I think we've lost some of the audience, but you know what we're going to do. You can't win them all, can you? I was watching this review of the Odyssey, and I went to make myself some bœuf bourguignon, and by the time I'd come back, they were talking about pissing in kettles. I've become an avid fan. I watch it every week now. Join us next week when we shall be talking about strange places you haven't had a piss. You haven't lost me. More Leaky Texas. I'm delighted about it.
That's because you're a hero, More Leaky Texas.
He is. He's a I don't know if there's any bringing this back to the Odyssey now. My standout things were Matt Damon. I'd watch him in anything. I can't. Is there a film that you didn't like Matt Damon in?
I can't think of one off the top of my head. So that's probably the answer, really.
Let me go through it. Did you like him in Good Will Hunting?
I've never seen it.
That's a bit daft. It's a good film.
I've never seen Good Will Hunting.
I think you'd like it. Watch it. You watched a film a day. You've watched more films than anyone I know, and you haven't watched. You've watched Melania.
There's a lot of films I've not seen.
I know, and I think you have to be more discerning on how you. I don't think you should be going to see Melania till you've released Good Will Hunting. Let me find. I suddenly got Dead Poets Society. You seen that?
I watched that because you suggested it.
Oh, did you? And what did you think of it?
I thought it was good.
Don't
get me wrong, it didn't change my life in the way
in the way that They Live did, or was it Santa with Muscles did? Obviously, it's not that level of ground.
Let me look back, because obviously I'm obviously vicariously living through what I wrote about it at the time.
Can everyone just get in the what is it like? Are there any films that have changed your life? I'm trying to think. Changed my life. I think Pulp Fiction. I don't know. Actually, no, not really. Carlito's Way, I went and bought a leather jacket. That had the effect of changing what I looked like. I like it. Do you know what? That's a really good. Those two things have come together in almost immaculate timing. The real deadbeats are still here. So we're still like the real deadbeat society. Just me. Okay.
I can totally believe that.
The Deadbeat Society. I'm doing that. MindCandy is now MindCandy Deadbeat Society. You haven't seen Good Will Hunting? That's criminal for. He's not called himself a film buff, to be fair. That's the other thing I love about Tom. He's not saying I'm a film buff. He's just saying I've seen a lot of films.
It's true. I have seen a lot of films. It doesn't make me an expert on anything.
And you've never claimed. And you've never claimed that you've gone to see good films. You've just gone to see films.
I find there's a lot of people who I think there could be a lot of pretension around films.
Yeah.
But I just like filling my time up with things that are more nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely embrace some of the pretension around films. I mean, I watch Mark Commode talking about films, and I think, God, he knows so much. I don't know. And I go, but I'm still watching films and enjoying them as much. I don't know if he's enjoying a film more because he knows all the background to how it's filmed and stuff. You know, at the end of the day, it's still a giant's hand plucking an extra out of a boat and it's. What was that, by the way? Was that like the seven-headed hydra or something? You know, in the boat when what is that?
I have no idea. See, I like the fact that they don't explain it.
Yeah. But I like the fact they don't explain it, but I think the reason they haven't explained it is because, everyone knows that. In which case, no, do explain it, because I didn't read that. You know, I didn't read the classics.
I mean, yeah. There's obviously a lot that I need to learn about this shit, but at the same time, I'm too lazy to actually do it.
But you know that really has stayed with me, that you watching a film every day. I brought it up in conversation with Dominic when we were at a restaurant before the film. I was like, doing a show with Tom there, and he went to a film, and every day. The commitment of that is epic.
Oh, I didn't go to the cinema every day.
No. But no. That would be beyond, because you'd be going to cinemas on days where, Christmas Day and shit like that. No. When you actually sit down and try and logistically work that out, it's fifth. If you're lucky, obviously, if you go and see the Odyssey 5, 6, 7, no, you're fucked, aren't you? Because that's but that's already an eighth of your day. But what I'm saying is that when because I was like, when you talked about it, I was like, I really want to do that. And because I suppose it's partly my ADHD brain, I think things are possible that quite obviously aren't possible. I'll be like half an hour before I've got to be at work, and I'll look at a TV program and it'll be 48 minutes. And I go, I can do that. And then get with 18 minutes left, go, how am I going to finish this? So there is a part of my brain going, yeah, do you know what? I definitely could watch a film every day. But then I actually start thinking, would I do it before work or after work? And how do I do that? How do I literally do that? So then I was thinking, well, one day you wouldn't have to do it every day. You could watch 4 on one day. And I was like, no, but that's a whole day. That's literally all day. You can't. You're never catching up. I would fall foul of that within a week, probably 2 weeks. So that you managed to do it for 365 days. I think I couldn't even do it if you told me that by doing it, I would raise enough sponsorship money as a sort of sponsored viewing thing that I could actually cure an incurable disease. And I'd probably still have to go, I can't do it, man. It's too many fucking films. How did you not get such film fatigue that you never want to see another film? And yet here you are, still with your Universal Cinema Pass.
Can't really explain that.
They don't build statues. They should.
Well, I suppose what really came of it was I learned more to appreciate the fact that other people are making movies and I'm just sitting there watching them.
Yeah.
because I was actually doing written review. The part that I've not really laboured on is that I was making a written review of the films that I watched.
But not a lot. But you were just doing like one line. You weren't writing.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Really?
I was doing essays daily on these films.
That on its own is fucking good going.
For example,
that's insane.
They were short at first, to be honest, but then they did eventually sort of.
I thought when I thought of doing it, I thought I'd probably just do one word reviews.
Well, that's what I do now. Like I did sort of like a sentence on basically what I wrote about Dead Poets Society was Robin Williams plays John Keating. So, and basically Robin Williams is exactly what you expect of a movie about where Robin Williams plays a teacher.
Yeah,
is what I wrote, because that's essentially it. So he's basically like he's mildly funny, but he's got a bit of dignity about him. But for example, let me find it. For example, this is a movie I wrote about, a review I wrote about Die Hard, for example, and I don't know if it'll show up here, but
still I haven't seen.
That's what I wrote about Die Hard.
Now, did you type that on a typewriter or with your thumbs?
I did it on my laptop.
Good, because the very thought of that would give me such nightmares, having to sit there and typing like that thing. Oh, fuck that. Okay.
My laptop did break eventually though, so then I started having to do it on my phone.
Do you know, the greatest way to do this now would be to make this into a film of a man who goes to watch 365 films and just like have this endless loop, and then someone sees that film and then they go. I like the idea of the one word review though. I think that could be a MindCandy recurring
I actually did
idea.
A one-word review of the Odyssey. I wrote epic, and that was it. Press send on Facebook.
And the Times were like, "We're going to need a bit more, Tom." Is there any way you could
find it? Oh, yeah, I've got it right here on the Odyssey. Epic. That's literally it. Epic.
Nice. All right. Well, let's say you can't use a word like. All right. How do I make you?
I mean, that's what it is. It's an.
That's
epic
right.
movie.
Yeah. Say what you see. You're a fucking perfect guest. Say what you see. Epic. Long is another one. Longish. I would say. I'd say it's not long. I didn't find it. I was, again, I'm not good at sitting down with no other distractions. Like, there are different flavors of ADHD. My missus will sit there and she's totally wrapped. And like a couple of times she looked around, I was looking at her and she goes, there were times you were looking at me. I was like, I just love watching you watch films because you're so like, when you just love someone and that's the moment where you think, perfect. But also it's because like I can't just sit. However engrossing something is, I'm like, I get distracted by just everything. So, but it's a measure of a film is good or bad. If I didn't check my phone very many times, I would give this one had about a 6 check count. I think I checked about 6 times, and I was pleasantly surprised each time. It's another indicator. During the Two Towers, I must have checked over 700 times, and somehow time was moving backwards, and I hate that film so much. Oh, look, Wall Street changed my life. It's not a very good film, though. I don't think anyone's seen a tenth of the films that... Like, I don't know if I've seen 365 films. I probably have, but you basically got a lifetime's viewing done in a year, didn't you? Tom's memory is like a film encyclopedia compared to mine. Yes. Tom has some very good lengthy film reviews on his Facebook. Bill Murray will play Tom. The age is wrong.
Bill Murray's not that lucky.
He'd need a lot of makeup, wouldn't he?
He'd need to shave his head for a start.
Oh, I don't know if he's the character actor to do this. I think for me, when they make a film of my life, it's going to be, oh, fucking hell. what's his name? Oh, I wanted to say it and then it would have sounded funny, but I can't think of it now. Maybe I'll leave this for another time. The 365-day movie challenge is fucking brilliant. Like, but
I think there's just one actor that can play me in a film, and I think he'd nail it to a T. Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, I think so. Samuel L. Jackson or Elliot Page.
Why not? They have them. One can play the younger version of me.
Which one?
Obviously, Elliot Page could play the older version. Samuel Jackson could play the younger version, the Benjamin Button version.
Exactly. I'd have De Niro playing the younger version of me. And I would have Elliot Page playing the older version. Yeah, both. Everyone. He's going to be busy. Busy little fucker.
Elliot Page is going to have a very busy calendar going forward.
Is it? Am I dressing this up too much? This Christopher Nolan. He's put a lot of love into this film. And you imagine he would have had last say on the casting. I'm sure there's a casting director, but if they'd come to him with, I'm trying to think who's the most out there person that you could cast to be in a film. I'm afraid he's actually beaten me to this one. I don't really know. Vinnie Jones as Oppenheimer would have been a good one. Jose's saying no. I can't say that name. How am I going to get Jose to tell me how to pronounce that name? Is he
Leguizamo?
Leguizamo. I find that really difficult to say. I fucking love him though.
I've always just known him as Luigi from Mario.
I've never seen that film, obviously because I'm pretentious and I don't think that does it for me.
He's in John Wick as well, but still, then when I see that, I then just look at him and go, "Oh look, Luigi from Mario is in John Wick."
It's not that you're denigrating him as an actor. I want to be clear of that. I think you have a high respect for him, but
far better actor than I'm actually giving him by giving him that name. But,
that does not suggest nor imply that he's a great actor. But look, here we are. It's nearly 12:30. We've covered a range and multitude of different film-based and other. I think a recurring feature of this might be places you've had a slash. I seriously would consider having a card made up that gives you special dispensation to have a whiz wherever you like. That should be one of the perks. I know there aren't really any perks, but there you go. I've created the first ever perk to having a stroke. You can have that. I won't charge you for that, but I might print the cards up. And overall, to close on this epic film, this magnum opus, I've heard it described. It really was. Look, if cinema is anything, and I think your 365 films in a year and your persistent visiting of cinemas, I think you described it brilliantly earlier. It is just something to do with your time. It is transformative. A good film is like nothing else. It's a defined period of your time that will leave a lasting impression or not, and will transport you. It is a device to transport you wherever you're watching your film. You are somewhere else for that period of time, and long may it continue. Long may it continue, because people have been talking about the death of cinema and Netflix and things like this, but they're making as many films as ever. And if I had to summarize it, I'll let you have the last word. But my summary of this film is, I'm glad they made it. I'm glad he made it the way he made it, and I'm glad he had the people in it that he did. And I don't have any problem with any of the casting or the language or anything else. As a transformative film, it took me away, made me think about things I hadn't thought about in a slightly different way, which is a bonus. But there were giants and swords and sandals, and long may it continue.
Swords and sandals.
I love it.
What it is. Well, obviously, thank you for having me on, Dan.
Anything.
If you go and see a movie this year, make it this movie. Not that they're paying me to say it, but just if you're going to spend money at a cinema, spend it on the Odyssey.
You know what? Yeah, because like this is a much better film in a cinema than it will be on your screen at home. However, I mean, I say that nowadays people have got projectors that they beam onto their neighbours' houses, but I'm saying like unless you've got that set up, yeah, go and see this in a cinema. Maybe bring your own pick and mix. And if you want one of the cards I'm printing up, let me know. Mark Commode. I might call it. I might call it the Commode card. Just like why not? Anyway, let us know. And if anyone gives you any shit, send them to me. Me and Tom will sort them out for you. He's allowed to piss where he bloody likes. He's paid $4.99.
Sorry,
Vinnie Jones in the Shakespeare remake. That's it. All right. Well, can't do the show without you, so I'm absolutely thrilled you were here. And to all of you that, you know what, this is just a brilliant community. I can't thank you enough for making. We'd still have done it even if no one had shown up, but like you guys have made it everything it's been. So thank you so much. Until I see you again, be lucky. Lots of love.